is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Tuesday. Torchy, did you finally figure it out? Or finally had the opportunity. What's it been? 5 months? 5 months. Fuzzy, good evening. Sparkles! Prometheus didn't know who you were. And so get this. Prometheus, I thought had been here for years. Apparently only been following for a couple months. Asked to be a mod, and I made them a mod, and they started talking shit about I don't know this Sparkles person. I'm like, how do you not know Sparkles? We're on early because I think we're doing a debate. We've got the Pennsylvania 8th Congressional District. We were in the middle of a debate last night, or otherwise I would have. Holiday, good evening. Sparkles, good evening. I didn't even realize I was supposed to be on yet. I was doing a freaking news. I was like, oh shit, I think I'm supposed to start the stream here. We've got New York's 22nd District and Pennsylvania's 8th Congressional District. Debates going on. We've also got apparently Eminem introducing former President Barack Obama in Detroit. We've got Trump speaking yet again in Greensboro. Both of those events have yet to start, but we're getting the Troll Patrol started. All kinds of fucking news happening. The former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. I didn't have time to go grab a topical meme, so you get taco, burrito. Jennifer Lopez and tacos? Of course. They're eternal. I feel all your wishes with my taco flavored kisses. Cicero. No, Abercrombie and Fitch, not still a thing. It was the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. Was arrested for sex trafficking or something. I don't know. I haven't even had time to look at it. Clinically, good evening. Torchy, I don't know if I told you good evening. They're stirring at the Trump rally. I think we're still waiting on things to get started over at the... I almost called it an Obama rally. The Harris rally, where former President Barack Obama will be speaking momentarily. We're going to be watching the Pennsylvania 8th Congressional District debate. Maybe. I think I would rather watch the New York 22nd. But I'm not sure that that's a thing. I had it on my list, but I don't know that that's a thing tonight. Pennsylvania's 8th is a toss-up. Leans Democrat. What did I say? New York 22nd. I don't even see New York's 22nd on here. Oh, no, it's a lean Democrat occupied by a Republican. That was the reason why I wanted to watch that one. Yes. A lean Democrat seat with a Republican currently occupying it. This was the local news talking about. Are they telling us that a debate is taking place now? This is what I couldn't find an actual debate stream. I found them talking about the candidates in the 22nd District.
2 weeks from Election Day across America. One of the biggest races getting national attention is right here in our backyard, the battle for New York's 22nd Congressional District. Incumbent Republican Brandon Williams is looking to win a second term. His opponent running on the Democratic ticket is State Senator John Mannion. The two candidates scoring endorsements from law enforcement unions as the race intensifies ahead of November 5th. The I-Team's Mary Keeler is live in Syracuse with details. Mary?
Yeah, Connor, nearly 2 weeks out from Election Day and just days away from early voting beginning in New York State this weekend. Tonight, Congressman Williams and Senator Mannion have key law enforcement support fueling their campaigns. The Syracuse Police Union president
is there a debate tonight?
Other law enforcement representatives Monday officially throwing his and his officers' support behind incumbent Republican Congressman Brandon Williams. He's looking for a second term representing New York's 22nd district in Washington.
Taxpayers, voters, business owners, parents, they've all had enough. And that's why the issue of crime continues to be so relevant in this election, relevant in our communities, in our public dialogues.
Syracuse PBA President Joe Moran says he's encouraged by the congressman's approach on cashless bail and the raise the age law in New York State.
For low-level minor offenses, our members, Syracuse police officers, can no longer place people in handcuffs and lodge them at the Justice Center for a short-term solution. Can't do it. Okay. Our hands are tied. So we know the congressman supports law enforcement. He supports our members. He's listening to our concerns. These two areas need significant reform so our members are able to do their job.
Democrat State Senator John Mannion has the endorsement of the New York State Police Union. Retired State Police Commander Frank Coots is a member, but also knows Mannion personally.
We need someone like John Mannion to serve us because he really is thinking about the public in which he is going to serve. He did that as a teacher. He did that as a state.
Okay, this debate has already taken place and just premiered like a minute ago. So like they just put it up live a minute ago. So I do have it. We'll watch it directly after the Pennsylvania 8th Congressional District, which I have pulled up right here. This is a toss-up Democrat seat. Gratilla, good evening.
One of the co-chairs of the House Democrats.
This is Pennsylvania's 8th Congressional District. After this, we're going to watch New York's 22nd Congressional District.
As an attorney before entering politics. His challenger, Mr. Rob Bresnahan Jr., is a native of Kingston. He graduated from the University of Scranton and served as CEO of his family's electrical contracting company. Mr. Bresnahan is the founder of RPB Ventures, a company that develops and rehabilitates properties in Northeast Pennsylvania. The format for this hour-long debate has been agreed to by both campaigns. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement and 2 minutes for a closing statement. Responses to the questions by our panelists will be held to 90 seconds. However, at my discretion as moderator, an additional 30 seconds may be allotted to each candidate for rebuttal. All times will be strictly enforced. All the questions are devised by the individual panelists, each of whom submitted a series of questions to WVIA for review prior to tonight's debate. And I, as moderator, also have the option to ask a question. We move now to the opening statements, and as determined by a coin toss earlier this evening, Congressman Matt Cartwright will begin. Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you to our panelists. Thanks to WVIA, and thanks to King's College for hosting this.
I apparently can't do anything about the video quality.
It's a question of who will put Northeastern...
This is Pennsylvania.
Who will work hardest for our people? Who will be most effective for our area? For the last 35 years, I've been here. I've been fighting, standing up and fighting for regular working people against powerful forces that are always arrayed against them.
This is Representative Matt Cartwright, currently holds the seat.
Congress.
But this is a toss-up race.
And accept and incorporate the values of Northeastern Pennsylvania. You know the values. Honoring our active duty service men and women and our nation's veterans.
This dude seems boring as fuck.
Seniors and taking care of them, raising our children in the way that they understand that they are expected to work for a living and to tell the truth.
He works hard for the money.
Honoring our police by funding them. I've actually brought home in the last 3 years almost $20 million for our local police and prosecutors. It makes 1% of members of Congress doing that. I'm very proud of that. I brought more money back than 99% of other members of Congress, and it shows. And always fought for the...
Oh yeah, well I brought back more money than 66 2/3% of Congress.
For their individual rights, their labor rights, their voting rights, their reproductive rights, fought for public education.
Nope, this is the Democrat.
Stuck my thumb in the eye of the huge corporations that are raising the costs for everybody by profiteering and gouging us again and again. They don't need anybody's help. They don't need my help. They've got Mike Johnson and his hand-picked candidate.
Thank you.
Once again, remember this is Pennsylvania.
Mr. Bresnahan?
Well, and this is a toss-up district.
Comments here to thank Kings and WVIA for facilitating this. I think it is absolutely necessary for you, the viewers and the audience, and those of you at home to hear directly from the candidates, which will be the most important election of our lifetime. I was born in northeastern Pennsylvania. I was raised in northeastern Pennsylvania. I went to the University of Scranton. I reinvested in northeastern Pennsylvania. I created jobs in northeastern Pennsylvania, and I'm going to die and get buried in northeastern Pennsylvania. Our family business is Kaharcha Construction, and we created, in 2008, we got totally clobbered by the financial downturn. And my grandmother, who's in the audience here today, told me that they would sell
Fuck your granny.
business after I got a 4-year college degree from a university of her acceptance.
Oh, that's mean of me. I'm sure your grandmother's a nice lady.
From having 50 employees to 150 employees working in 19 different states. In June of last year, we had the opportunity to partner with a company in Chicago that shared our values, where I reinvested back into the company to create hundreds of jobs across the United States. From day one in this campaign, my philosophy has been an economy that works, borders that are secure, and communities that are safe. And I'm sure over the next hour, you're going to
I don't like the cut of this dude's jib.
Family business, about abortion, about my intent to cut Social Security, my intent to be extreme. But I'd like to ask you, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Let alone 4, how about 2? Life is unaffordable, and I'm running to make life affordable again for northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm running to secure our borders. I'm running to secure our communities because it is the foundation of
I'm into Gilf's Flash.
Everything about me has been northeastern Pennsylvania. I've served on the board of directors for the Catholic Youth Center. I was the past president of the SPCA of Luzerne County, Junior Achievement of northeastern Pennsylvania, and I will.
That's who he reminds me of. Thank you, Cicero.
This place.
Thank you, Mr. Bresnahan.
It's like he looks like somebody. I can't put my finger on it.
Of the debate. Each panelist will be called on in rotation. We begin with WVIA political reporter Boris Krauchenyuk. Boris?
Krauchenyuk?
There's a lot of concern among voters about securing this
Krauchenyuk.
both sides, and we've heard a lot about it, and nothing's happened over the last, since 1986. What sort of solutions do you favor?
This is Pennsylvania's 8th congressional district.
And do you favor
running to be a part of the U.S. House?
A pathway to citizenship for the people who are already here illegally, or do you want to send them back and deport them the way Donald Trump is suggesting?
Mr. President.
I'm up first? Okay. I've been to the border 2 separate times. I've been to Yuma, Arizona, and Sierra Vista. I've seen it with my own eyes, the crisis, the trafficking, and what's taking place. And sure, yes, we need a physical barrier. We need to supplement it with hybrid technology.
I'm sure nobody is going to be upset when I interrupt this and have Eminem introduce Barack Obama, right?
I'm going to come through the front door. I'm not going to come through the side door.
Speak now if you don't want me to do that.
Border 7 separate times. And listen, there are, when you go to Yuma, Arizona, I saw it. There was a group of 50 migrants that walked right around the wall. They surrendered themselves to Border Patrol agents. They were taken.
If you'd rather watch Rob Bouchani here.
Later that day, we went to Phoenix, Arizona, got on an airplane, and the same person we watched walk around that wall at that processing center got on the airplane in the zone in front of me with his 3 children and his female traveling companion. And I think about our senior citizens. When those people end up in the United States or into different communities like our backyards, my heart breaks because these kids are 2, 3, 4 years old.
Not high enough for this shit.
With it. But then I talk to our senior citizens who are struggling to pay school property taxes and groceries and put fuel inside of their vehicles. And we've spent $150 billion a year on taking care of migrants. What about the United States? What about us? What about the current residents? And that's where my priority is going to be. It's about taking care of the people already in this country that came here legally through the big front door.
Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you. The truth is, we do have a broken immigration system in this country right now, and it needs to be fixed.
Stop capitulating to the Republicans.
From the White House. It's something that I started, the Democrats for Border Security Task Force, and it all started when something called the Langford Bill fell apart. Jim Langford is a...
He sounds like he would be a character that like Dana Carvey did or something.
...terms on the Oversight Committee, and he came up with...
the Oversight Committee?
...to get us all past this, to get us off the schneid with the border, to come up with something that both sides can agree with as we move forward.
Just imagine this dude saying chopping broccoli.
To closing the border and getting a hold of immigration, we were very hopeful. There were a bunch of bipartisan senators that were behind this, and all of a sudden Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said, don't bother bringing that to the House. It's dead on arrival in the House. Imagine, for us to be able to stop fighting over the border, and Mike Johnson didn't want anything to do with it. You know what that was? That was putting politics over people. That was preferring rancor to solutions. We've got to fix the border. We have to put people over politics. I have all number of things that I've done. I voted against sanctuary cities.
It's done by population, Battle of Possum.
Penalties against immigrants who commit violent crimes, who assault police.
Thank you,
we
Mr.
can do
Cartwright.
better than what Mike Johnson did. Thank you.
So I'd be really, are we rebuttaling on this? Okay.
You may.
So I'd be really interested if you did so much work with the immigration process. Why did we vote against the SAVE Act?
That's why places like Alaska and Vermont only have one
in United States elections.
Representative in the House.
In 2023, HR 461, and again, I speak bulldozer, I don't speak Washington, D.C., to be housed.
He speaks bulldozer. He probably identifies as a attack jet as well.
In favor of those.
Mr. Cartwright, 30 seconds.
He's talking about the SAVE Act, and that, if you look it up, the Bipartisan Policy Center, I do a lot of bipartisan work in Congress. I'm known for it. I'm one of the most bipartisan Democrats in the U.S. House. If you look up bipartisanpolicy.org,
let me see what this district
advises
is.
Against voting for the SAVE Act. You know, it's been illegal since 1996 for foreign nationals to vote in our elections. And
it's Scranton.
Bipartisan Policy Center, which is a legit organization, 21 million Americans would be disenfranchised from it,
Thank you, Mr.
particularly
Cartwright.
seniors.
Time is up, and our next question will be posed by Lisa Washington.
This is a toss-up district, Torchy.
Of evening newscasts on WNEP, the ABC affiliate for Northeastern and...
This is one of the most competitive districts in the country.
Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you. I'd like to focus now on infrastructure. The Federal Highway Administration reports nearly 13% of Pennsylvania's bridges are structurally deficient, meaning there is at least one structural element in poor condition. For example, not far from where we are, the Firefighters Memorial Bridge, which connects Pittston and West Pittston, closed in 2021 after a failing inspection. Now, drivers and pedestrians...
No, M-Lord, I know you're not right on that because we watched the only congressional district in Vermont last night. We watched the race. We watched the debate for it.
Firefighters Memorial.
And then I'm pretty sure Alaska only has one congressional district.
Bridge. Construction is not slated to begin until 2027. The project is estimated to be finished by 2030. What are your plans to improve bridges?
I appreciate you trying to fact check me, though.
Lisa, thank you for that question. A lot of this and more is going to be solved by the bipartisan infrastructure law, and that's a law that I worked very hard to fight for. If you probably don't remember, and it's
this guy has a lot in common with Joe Biden.
There was a lot of heartache and animus over whether we would pass the bipartisan infrastructure alone or attach onto it a lot of other spending bills like for housing and things like that. I fought very hard for the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure on its own because it contains so many things that we need to do. It had been so long since we had put that kind of investment
Brad, good
in roads
evening.
and bridges in this country. It had been forever since we had passed an infrastructure law of that size. I remember a colleague of mine, a Democratic colleague, said to me, "Oh, infrastructure, anybody can do infrastructure. That's boring. Let's do bigger things."
Well, then do it.
Wait a minute. The last time we did infrastructure of this size, it was the Eisenhower administration, which was before I was born. I know I look older. But
oh, he's got a sense of humor.
The administration, and I'm telling
got
you,
jokes.
what that means is this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You know, Senator Casey and I stood at those bridges and announced that $19 million from the bipartisan infrastructure law will go to fixing those pits and bridges and working on the levees there. And there's so much more we have to do and more we could talk about with it.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Mr. Bresnahan?
So that bridge has been closed for 41 months. There's been multiple press conferences done directly in front of this bridge. That means we will have to re-elect you for 2 more terms until we get across the Susquehanna River. And that's not the only bridge in the district. The Nanticoke Bridge has been deemed structurally deficient. 1 in 4 bridges.
Yeah, it's stupid how long it takes us to build shit in this country.
Deficient, which is the highest percentage out of all congressional districts in the state of Pennsylvania.
And I can tell you why. It's because we have to go through contractors. We have to go through this bidding process. We award this and award that. And then they take for if the government just did it themselves.
Lost every single day because of obsolete piping systems. The electrical grid.
We could do it a lot more efficiently.
I mean, the majority of these systems were built in the 1950s with 50 years of usable life, but we also have to think about ways that we're going to generate power. How are we going to transmit power? How are we going to distribute power? And we need to reinvest into those critical infrastructure systems. We have 43 people right now.
Sorry, I keep smacking my mic with my coffee cup.
Those systems. And it's devastating. When there's no electricity, you do not get water out of a well. Airports, that's another huge proponent and opportunity. And these are all great opportunities to create family-sustaining careers. We're a union electrical contractor. These are family-sustaining wages. You earn while you learn. These jobs will always be needed, and there will never be enough of an opportunity to reinvest into infrastructure.
Thank you. In 30 seconds, Mr. Cartwright for a rebuttal.
Sure, this clock doesn't give us enough time to talk about what's in the bipartisan infrastructure law, but one of the biggest things that I fought for was to get $11.3 billion into abandoned mine cleanup. About a quarter of that money will come to northeastern Pennsylvania because the only reason there are people in our area was originally the coal mining. Those coal minings are voids underground and they need to be filled in and shored up. And the bipartisan infrastructure law will put more than $2 billion into northeastern Pennsylvania for that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. We will move on now and go to our last question in this first round of questioning. That will come from Andy Mahalchik. Andy is lead I-Team reporter for WBRE WYOU, and Andy's question will go to Mr. Bresnahan.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. Good to be with you tonight. There's been a lot of concern I'm hearing on the streets of northeastern and central Pennsylvania that congressmen are not their own thinkers, that they're concerned that the White House or those in Washington control what you guys do at the street level. If your party's nominee for the White House for president would win, Donald Trump or Vice President Harris, would you be a rubber stamp for that president, or would you haggle back and forth and fight for the people of northeastern Pennsylvania, or would you be a rubber stamp? A lot of people tell me it doesn't matter who's in Congress. Whoever's in the White House controls what these lawmakers, senators, and congressmen do.
Absolutely not. The only people that I'm beholden to are the people of northeastern Pennsylvania. And I would hope that the same people that put me here, the second that I lost my way and I start to vote 100% of the time with my party or 98% of the time with my party, there is somebody that primaries me or beats me in a general election because I do not deserve to represent the people of northeastern Pennsylvania. I've heard the name Mike Johnson being thrown around, the Speaker of the House. And let me tell you, I'm not going to be
He's a piece of shit
to anyone. Not Donald Trump, not Mike Johnson. I've been very blessed. To whom much is given, much is required. And I'm doing this because I care about northeastern Pennsylvania. I care about the people. I love the this country.
It's always weird that, you know, oh, you voted with your party as an attack. How do you think shit gets done?
I'm going to vote to represent what's best for northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm going to vote to secure our borders. I'm going to vote to reinvest into infrastructure. I'm going to vote to keep our communities safe.
As someone who's informed, I can tell you Congress passes very fucking little.
A lot of issues. And, you know, the first day on my campaign trail was the day that Speaker McCarthy was thrown out of as Speaker. And I remember thinking, this is exactly why I'm running. I'm so sick and tired of the infighting, that nothing ends up getting done, that there's just these two fractions on both sides just pushing further to the right and further to the left. And
no.
It's really frustrating as a taxpayer, as a citizen. So at the end of this, when I come and pull that lever in Washington, D.C., it will be for what's best for the 8th Congressional District and nobody else.
Thank you, Mr.
It has been the least productive in history.
Indeed. I've served under 3 presidents now, and I've broken with all 3 of them. Originally, I broke with President Obama in 2013. When he came out as a laurel wreath that he was going to give to the Republicans, he agreed to smaller cost of living increases on Social Security payments, and I went out on the lawn of the Capitol. I was a congressman all of about 4 months, Democratic congressman, protesting against the
good on this dude
president. And much to his credit, he changed his mind and he withdrew that support. I've actually worked with President Trump several times. He passed a few of the bills that I wrote, including
4G Flash is a Fed.
To make it easier for kidney donations to happen. I appreciated that. And as I've already explained, I have broken with the Biden administration over the very issue of immigration and the border. There's no question that the Biden administration did not move quickly enough on that. And I and the members of the Democrats for Border Security Task Force penned a letter to the Biden administration when it became clear that the Langford bill wasn't going to be accepted by Mike Johnson. We penned a letter to the Biden administration demanding action on tightening up the border.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cartwright.
Oh, Flash, that sounds like the story of America.
Member of the Progressive Caucus. You have broke rank with Democrats less than 2.5%.
Wait, he's a member of the Progressive Caucus?
You've voted with AOC 95% of the time, Nancy Pelosi, and I have full confidence that you will continue to do that with Kamala Harris as the president. We have to put northeastern Pennsylvania first. You cannot say
this dude is a member of the Progressive Caucus.
Voting record at 98%.
Mr. Cartwright, 30 seconds.
That is absolutely a misconception. I have actually passed 16 bills, 16 substantive bills into law. You don't do that unless you can work across the aisle, unless you can develop relationships with people across the aisle. I have done that. I've seen that as part of my job. You know, I come from a family where my father was a Republican. I got 3 brothers. We have 2 Ds and 2 Rs. If you think that I hate Republicans, you got the wrong guy, and I would not have been able to pass 16 bills in a law if I felt that way.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright, and that concludes round 1 of our debate. We will now go to Lisa Washington for the first question of round 2, and Lisa's question will be directed to Mr. Cartwright.
Great, thank you. Pennsylvania has an executive order designed to protect persons seeking reproductive health care services in the Commonwealth and medical professionals offering those services from discipline in other states. If presented with a national...
Too many damn times, Lenny.
You vote in line with Pennsylvania's current laws.
I want to make it absolutely crystal clear. I support reproductive freedom for women. The Dobbs decision was a jolt. It was a jarring decision for American law. And my opponent claims that Dobbs did exactly what it should do, that the Supreme Court of the United States did exactly what it should do in overturning 50 years of constitutional protection for women. That is the wrong position. And you can't hide behind a Democratic governor. What it does is it means that every 2 years, women's rights are on the ballot. Every 2 years, women have to wring their hands and wonder if they're going to have the same reproductive rights that they've had up to now. And this has led to deaths. You know, there was a 28-year-old woman with a 6-year-old boy. She showed up at a hospital in Georgia, And because of the laws that Georgia enacted almost right after that Dobbs decision, because they could, because of that law, the doctors were unable to treat her for up to 20 hours without fear of falling.
You're going to hear it a lot more in the next 2 weeks, Torchy.
As a result of that 20-hour delay, that 28-year-old woman with a 6-year-old boy.
2 weeks, that's where we're at. This time in 2 weeks,
unnecessary.
polls will be closing.
A 6-year-old boy who doesn't have a mom because of the sweeping away.
It's gonna be a long time.
My opponent applauded that.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Mr. Bresnahan?
Well, I'd be interested when that position changed, because just
long 2 weeks.
Setting exactly like this, you said you were pro-life, with the exceptions of rape, incest, life of the mother. So I'd be curious to know when that position did a 180. Number two, no, I would not support a federal ban on abortion under any circumstances, regardless if it matched up with what Pennsylvania is. I do not believe abortion belongs in the federal government. Ruth Bader Ginsburg had suggested exactly just that. And I think with abortion, you have to be understanding. You have to be empathetic. I'm with Chelsea. She's a pro-choice person, but she wants to choose life on her own. And I don't believe a federal representative in Washington, D.C. should be making those decisions. I mean, I have a friend who had...
Goddamn, Hal Rogers has been your state rep since, like, we were born. It's insane.
Specifically from Washington, D.C. as a federal representative. I feel that the best policies, and you started to see this happen around the state and around the country, that you put it on the ballot. You allow the voters to decide what's best for their state. But I'll certainly say this is not a place for the federal government to be involved. You have to be empathetic. You have to be understanding. You have to understand what...
He was nice to me when I met him.
This is a life and death decision.
20 fucking years ago.
That mother die during that process is absolutely horrific. And that's certainly not a place in the United States that should be acceptable under any circumstances.
Mr. Cartwright, 30 seconds.
It is true that my wife and I are practicing Catholics, but I have never said that I would vote to take away women's reproductive rights. Foisting one's own religious beliefs on others, that's not an American thing to do. What we're left with, because of the decision that he has applauded, is a situation where state politicians are now in...
Look, I need something stronger than this. What do you guys think?
Doctors. I say we got to enact federal legislation reinstating Roe federally so this kind of thing stops happening.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. We will move on to our next question from Andy Mahalchik, and the question will be directed to Mr. Bresnahan.
We hear constantly, almost every day, again on the streets of northeastern PA, people are struggling to pay for staples. Gas, milk, eggs, everything is up.
Lenny, I think it's one of those things where you smack your back that has the spikes on it and shit. That's how you practice to be a Catholic.
What can be done about it? What will you do in Congress to fight inflation, bring it down to where people feel they're not feeling it, quite frankly? What will you do to curb inflation?
I think you made a great point. It's the kitchen table issues. It's the groceries, it's the fuel for your vehicle, it's your prescription medication. And you want to talk about our seniors living on fixed income. I mean, the only thing that's eroding away at Social Security is the cost of living. First and foremost, you need to have a balanced budget. And it's happened before in the past, and it can happen again with the right leadership. Secondly, you're looking at energy costs. That is the biggest driver of the majority of inflation. Every single thing we own comes on a truck. Everything uses electricity. So we can't vilify fossil fuels and the ability of natural resources, specifically within the state of Pennsylvania. When you start talking about the struggles, and that's the first thing we hear when we knock on doors. We've knocked on 24,000 doors. We talk to real people every single day. And the first thing that everyone says is, I can't afford my groceries. I can't afford rent. I have mortgages. You have credit card debt for the second consecutive year over $1 trillion. We have a national debt over $35.5 trillion. And you're looking at what our expenditures are. We're spending $900 billion a year.
Yeah, but you guys like that shit.
That's much, or if not more, than the United States defense budget. We have to be able to erode away and not send billions and billions.
Lenny, I'll absolve you.
On the planet.
10 Hail Marys. Jack off 3 times.
That is what the majority of this boils down to. Sometimes the government just needs to say, no, we can't afford it. We have to take care of our own people. And that's certainly something that I'm going to do.
Mr. Cartwright.
Look, yes, the economists are telling us that it's all getting better, but it sure doesn't feel like it. Not yet. That's why I voted to stop gas companies from gouging people at the pump. That's why I helped pass a bipartisan law to crack down on shipping profiteering. That's why I helped pass a middle-class tax
dear soup.
for child tax.
Good evening.
By the way, I have never voted for a tax
I
increase.
sure could eat a bowl of soup right now.
But that's why we took on Big Pharma. You know, under the Inflation Reduction Act, we took on Big Pharma. People are shocked to know that it was American law for 20 years that the government couldn't negotiate drug prices with Big Pharma. Why? Because Big Pharma had the ability with their lobbyists to make it so. So whatever they wanted to charge under Medicare Part D, that's what they charged and that's what they got. For the first time, we were able to stand up, muster our courage, and stand up to Big Pharma and pull this off with the Inflation Reduction Act. As a result, there are 10 drugs that have to be...
If you're just joining us,
Medicare,
this is the 8th Congressional District in Pennsylvania. This is a toss-up race. This is the current occupant of the seat, Democrat Matt Cartwright.
And where are you, Denise? There you are. And she was on an ad. She saves $1,000.
We love smoking with you, Gratilla.
IRA, and it's not a lot to Big Pharma, but it's a lot to Mr. and Mrs. Parashak, I know.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright.
Well, I think it's important to recognize the impacts of pharmaceutical.
This is the Republican Bobby Boucher.
Reduction bill. One of the only things that I support is the prescription Medicare, the prescription cap.
That was not his name. They haven't found him yet. Hold on.
But you also
Rob
for over 12
Brezhnehan.
You voted
Rob Brezhnehan
to continue to send billions and billions of dollars to every other place on the planet. You've been a part of paying $150 billion to take care of migrants when our own people in Asheville, North Carolina got $750.
That's not all they got.
Cartwright, 30 seconds.
We've heard a lot of falsehoods about how much money went to illegal immigrants. There was a falsehood on one of those ads that I don't know who ran it, about $4 billion going to illegal immigrants. And that was under the American Rescue Plan is what they cited. Utter rubbish. There was nothing in that bill.
Complete rubbish.
Any funds or budgeting any funds for illegal immigrants. They just made it up, and they cited a phony right-wing website as their proof. Nonsense.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Our next question.
That's a good possibility, Torchy.
The question will be directed to Mr. Cartwright.
This is a seat that the Republicans need to pick up.
Debates, but since Congress hasn't solved the problem, I'll ask it
The
again.
Democrats need to retain.
Social Security's trustees say the benefits will have to drop by more than 20% in about a decade. If the system isn't fixed, the potential solutions are well known. How are you going to fix it?
Thank you for the question, Boris. And this is one of the main things that separates my opponent from me tonight. There is only one person on this stage endorsed by the National Committee to Preserve Social Security.
Elon is being looked into by the Department of Justice, the DOJ issuing a statement earlier today, anonymously.
To protect and
Ponder
preserve
Monkey.
Social Security and Medicare, because I have a plan. It's true that in 2035, it's scheduled to not be able to pay 100 cents on the dollar on Social Security checks. That's unacceptable. It's intolerable. And what's the Republican plan for that? There isn't one. Oh, we won't cut.
The Bernie Sanders plan extends it to like 2075
One way, 2030.
and expands benefits without raising taxes on 99% of the people in the country.
And what I've done is I've signed on to a bill called Social Security 2100, and what that does is it eliminates the loophole that my opponent has been benefiting from, that people making over $400,000 a year don't have to pay into FICA. They love that loophole. They'll never vote against that. That's why they don't want to do anything. But I'm here to tell you, if we don't do something...
I will tell you, Flash, it has felt like the DOJ has been dragging their feet, but my God, has there been a lot of movement by the DOJ this year.
Available to us now because we didn't do anything before.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Mr. Bresnahan.
I still feel like Garland was not the right person for the job, but he's starting to kind of make me eat my words.
Endorse Democrats, but I would love an opportunity to sit down and actually have a dialogue about what solutions could be. And we did talk about some solutions from the trustees, and something that I believe in is getting people back to work. provide.
Fucking right wingers talk about busting pedophiles. Holy shit, the DOJ's been busting pedophiles.
Incredible place with natural resources, with the necessary infrastructure if we make the right investments. But getting people back into the tax brackets, into the payrolls, is certainly going to be a way to chip that down. Secondly, we're not going to give 10 million illegal migrants Social Security and Medicare benefits. I'll be sure to tell you that. But we have to, sure,
they don't get Social Security and Medicare benefits.
Social Security, Medicare, and I want to preserve it for the next generation, my kids' generation, and my.
I think Elon does eventually end up broke. I think we see the absolute richest man ever.
I want to join other.
End up fucking destitute.
Social Security. My grandmother on my dad's side depends on Social Security.
Walls pulled out one of my favorite insults.
Paid into these systems. I've been paying into them since the first day I got a paycheck, and they should be around for the next generation to benefit from them because we need them. The thing that's cutting into Social Security is the cost of living, the inflation, what we are actually paying for things. And we need to make cost of living adjustments, but we have to stop borrowing from the trust fund and start making it a priority to refund it appropriately.
Thank you, Mr. Bresnahan. Mr. Cartwright, 30 seconds.
I didn't hear a plan in that answer, and I certainly didn't hear an agreement to get rid of that loophole for people making over $400,000, which includes my opponent.
It's not even a loophole.
And that's a shame, because currently, if you know the people in northeastern Pennsylvania, you know that upwards of 40% of seniors have Social Security checks as their sole means of support. And so to endanger them like that, to let 2035 sneak up on us like that, unacceptable.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cartwright.
I mean, I would not be against the Social Security 2100 Act, but I'm also not going to starve out and choke our small businesses that can barely exist with the amount of regulation, with the amount of taxes. And also, I'm not a member of Congress.
Raising the cap on people that make over 400 grand?
Of any opportunities to negotiate.
Not how that works, sir.
Our small businesses that are employing people that are paying into these systems. So I think you have to be responsible in taking care of our senior citizens, but there has to be a way to solve this problem. We can't just let our senior citizens starve to death and not have the medication they need.
Thank you, Mr. Bresnahan.
Medicare for all.
As we begin a new round, we'll go to Andy Mihalchik, and that question will be directed to Mr. Bresnahan.
One issue we hear about, again, almost every single day, besides the tabletop issues, is the country's so divided, left, right. There's a Grand Canyon between the two sides. Nationwide.
Good evening.
What will you do? What can you do you think has to be done to tone it down, to bring people together as Americans and not these or ours?
Exactly why I'm here. It's because you hear the temperatures, you hear the rhetoric on both sides.
Flash, those ads might be targeted AI. It might be like fucking specific to you guys. That's what's getting scary about this shit.
From both sides of their parties. And you know what? If you vote on the issue and you vote for what's best for your people inside of your district, you should be able to break rank and file with your party.
Stabby, good evening.
I think that's a really hard concept, but when you're looking at
Did I tell you good evening?
Done in the House, you're constantly overthrowing a speaker, and that was a Republican thing that took place. But we have to restore sanity and civility because it's absolutely infuriating. When you look at what Congress gets done every single year, if you were to run a private business like this or an enterprise, you would be out of business. There would be no way. And I've surrounded myself with the differences of opinions. I don't want a bunch of yes men.
On Spotify, it could be targeted specifically to you.
Get it 100% what I.
That's what's scary.
That would be insanity. But I think we have to provide for the American.
YouTube ads are going to start being specifically to you.
Nothing getting done. You've looked at some.
I hate the future.
One specifically. I mean, there were 6 Democrats that broke on that. And that's a good idea of bipartisan support. In the infrastructure bill, there's a lot of things in there that I don't agree with. I don't agree with a lot of the social infrastructure that took place, but that's an idea to get people back to work.
I don't see ads either.
All right.
This is my alley. I work as a bipartisan.
Well, other than Curious are put on my fucking Spotify playlist, and she doesn't subscribe to Spotify.
Relationships across the aisle.
We really didn't get that many ads.
If you look for the good in people.
But she kept because it was my Halloween playlist. So Slayer came on, and she got really excited about Slayer.
And
but she only listened to the intro, and then
actually.
Skipped it, but you only get so many skips, so she ends up on Kesha's Cannibal, and she can't skip it anymore, and she fucking hates Kesha.
16 bills. 16 substantive bills into law. And the whole time I've been there, if a Democrat's going to pass a bill into law, it has to be bipartisan. It has to be something that the 10 Republican senators will go for, or else they'll just kill it. So I've passed wonderful bills. The Megabyte Act, which has by now saved $4.5 billion for American taxpayers by making the purchase of software more rational the way the government does it. It's a brilliant bill, and I was happy to do that with my dear friend Steve Russell from Oklahoma City, who's no longer in the Congress, but we have remained dear friends.
Lenny, thank you for throwing out the Gibbs up. Luggy, good evening. Welcome in.
Beyond passing bills.
Anybody just joining us, this is the Pennsylvania 8th Congressional District.
A coalition.
This is Democrat Matt Cartwright. He is the current representative.
Up Route 611 in the Delaware Water.
This is a toss-up seat.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright.
You cannot vote with your party, the Biden-Harris administration, 98% of the time and say that you are bipartisan. It's okay to say that you're a progressive. It's okay if you believe that is truly the best path forward for this country, but you can't pretend to be something that you're not. You voted 98% of the time with the Biden-Harris agenda.
Mr. Cartwright, 30 seconds.
Windsor Balls. That was Rob Brezhnehan.
Exactly backwards, because legislation originates in the Congress, either in the House or the Senate. And occasionally the White House weighs in and decides what they're going to support. And that's the metric that you always go to. But one thing you don't ever talk about is that I passed 3 bills that Donald Trump signed into law. That doesn't pop up in your metrics.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. We will move on now, and the next question will be from Boris Kravchenyuk. The question will be directed to Mr. Cartwright.
Right now, we're spending a lot of money. Mr. Brezhnehan mentioned a little while ago about spending a lot of money not in the United States on other things. Right now, we're spending a lot of money on wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. I just want to hear your opinion on those and whether we should.
Also, speaking of my Spotify playlist, that is my Halloween music to fuck shit up to.
The fact that
it is fantastic.
Ukraine. They were invaded by this monstrous criminal, Vladimir Putin, who had no good on his mind and intends not to stop at the
He's a no-goodnik.
By the way. People who are interested in Eastern Europe understand that a despot like Putin is not going to stop at the Polish border. He doesn't respect borders of any kind. Here's the problem.
Did he say Putin?
Into Poland, we're at war. Poland is...
Because somebody last night said Putin.
One of us, you attack all of us. What we're doing by supporting Ukraine in our current posture, and I was thrilled to meet Volodymyr Zelensky when he came to the Scranton Army ammunition plant about a month ago. I told him, you are making yourself the Winston Churchill of Eastern Europe, standing up for democracy, standing up for freedom. Why in the world wouldn't we support that? I do, and not only because it creates jobs around here, certainly it does, but the bigger reason is this is the right thing to do. We can't show weakness to Putin over this. We need to show friendship to Ukraine. And because if we show weakness at a point in time like this, what is the message that sends to all of the malign actors that are out there? It's a tough world out there, and they're watching what we do. If we don't stand strong for Volodymyr Zelensky...
They're watching us as we piss.
They're going to think we're weak.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Mr. Brezhnehan?
I didn't hear anything on Israel on that answer. I heard a lot about Ukraine. And listen, what is happening in Ukraine is absolutely tragic. There is a warmonger taking over Ukraine, but we've sent up to $178 billion.
Seriously, Stabby.
I'm all for manufacturing the weapons, and I'm going to actually answer the question. I'm all for providing them the resources so they can fight their war. But we have a war going on at home. We are struggling every single day, our own citizens, to keep their lights on. And I'd love to have some accountability of that existing $178 billion that was sent there. It just cannot be an open checkbook and just keep filling satchels of cash and sending it around the planet when we have our own bridges. We built 47 bridges in Ukraine, and the bridge on the Water Street isn't going to be open until 2026. or 2027 is when they're going to start construction. What about America? What about our own people? Also for Israel, yes, I support Israel. I trust the IDF and what they need to do. We should continue to provide them the weapons that they need to fight.
Bad move. Never trust the IDF.
Hostages are going after a year now because they are still not home, and I find that absolutely unacceptable. That we can continue to send billions and billions of dollars to other places around the world, but our own people, our own infrastructure, our own American citizens are
that's a bad move.
Afford homes and are losing their residences because they can't afford school property taxes, but yet another $10 billion gets sent to another side of the country.
Mr. Cartwright, 30 seconds.
I absolutely firmly support Israel. In fact, I broke with my own party in signing on to a Republican bill to fund
damn right, light one up, tip one back.
With no strings attached. It's something where I broke with the Biden administration. This is our strongest ally in the Middle East, and if you saw the footage that I saw from October 7, I was in tears watching that.
He saw babies get put into ovens.
We will never abandon Israel.
He saw women and children raped.
Move along now to our next question from Lisa Washington.
He didn't, but you know, he thinks he did.
Mr. Bresnahan.
Thank you, Tracy. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Pennsylvania's unemployment rate as of
August chicken in every pot.
was 3.4%.
Igloo, my man. Good evening.
Area that rate is 4.8%.
Josephus.
A qualified workforce is needed to attract new businesses to the area. What steps would you take to increase workforce development in the 8th District?
I was the chairman of the Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee for one of our local IBEWs, and I'm a big believer. We have incredible universities like the one that we're in here now, but skilled trade is an incredible opportunity to earn while you learn. You graduate with virtually no debt. And these are jobs that will never be.
Winnie is making us all grilled cheese.
We are always.
You did bring it up for everyone, right?
Always going to need electricians. We are always going to need plumbers. And it's something that we're struggling to fill. We have 30 jobs open right now, and outside of the lineman positions, but we're also always going to need diesel mechanics. And these are wages starting at $40, $50 an hour. And with our proximity, within 200 miles, we can reach 51.
We make a rule that we don't have the electoral college anymore.
60% of the United States population. We have the natural resources like energy and natural gas. The natural gas industry, it provides $45 billion a year of GDP because of that industry. $76 billion of GDP.
Everyone's vote count equally. I don't know why that's such a hard concept.
From natural gas.
Was in New York and California would decide the presidency. You mean the majority of the fucking people?
That industry requires welders. That industry requires electricians, and they are hiring faster than any other industry. We can't vilify trade. I think there's some work to be done on 529 programs too, to expand what those programs are eligible for. We are always going to need truck drivers, and expanding what's an eligible CDL program. So there's incredible ways to.
Thanks, Mr. Bresnahan. Mr. Cartwright?
Did somebody hiss him?
Look, it's about workforce development, really. We have to train up people for the jobs of the future, the jobs that are turning up. And you know, workforce development equals education, and we can't forget to talk about education in this debate. I support public education. My opponent supports a voucher system where you can siphon money out of public education and give it to people who want to use that voucher and send their kids to private school. It only helps people that are already sending their kids to private school. I am absolutely opposed to taking money out of public education to do that. And in addition, there are so many.
They could probably already write off their private school, right?
With public education, we can never forget to do that. Now, a lot of the workforce development is done by unions. And I'm proud to say that I am the only candidate on this stage endorsed by the AFL-CIO, which is the umbrella organization that includes the IBEW, which serves my opponent's company. He talks about he's pro-union, but they've endorsed me. In fact, if you drive down the Sansui Highway and go by the local of the electrical workers union that serves his company, there's a big sign out front, and it isn't for my opponent.
Attila, that's the way it's always been.
The reason for
traditionally, education has been
You'd see my sign out there too, so I guess you don't head that part of town that frequently.
A gated community.
He also didn't ask the question about creating jobs. We danced around the subject, and I don't even know what school voucher.
And I think that's part of the coordinated effort to attack
I
education.
yield my time to allow you to
tear down public schools.
Absolutely. Well, school voucher programs, Rob, are things where you take money out of the public schools and you hand it.
Why I'm against it.
You
just said I'm against something that I'm not.
You'll have to explain that. You've said that in public that you're for school voucher programs, and that's for you to explain.
Banning all private schools will absolutely help.
It's time to get to our closing statements, and we will ask Mr. Cartwright to begin with your closing statement. You have 2 minutes.
You know, it's been an honor.
You got to decouple it from property taxes.
Northeastern Pennsylvania and the United States Congress. I know that as I do the job, I do it fully in mind of what the values of the people of Northeastern Pennsylvania are. Values like hard work and telling the truth and being who you are, being yourself, and having an open mind.
Yeah, Flash, I could be for that too.
On the other side. You know, one thing that I've been able to do is bring together coalitions of Democrats and Republicans. And
I thought he had a lot in common with Joe Biden.
The Delaware water gap.
But he's actually been very sharp and had some positions I didn't expect him to take.
Garrity, who is a Republican state treasurer, she and I.
He's been one of the few candidates to say, he didn't say it by saying lift the cap. He called it a loophole on people that make over 400 grand.
Hospital for some reason.
He said close the loophole.
Hospital,
but I assume he means lift the cap.
Visit the veterans who live there.
On Social Security, of course.
And we were like, COVID, it's 2023. What are you doing? And I was able to work with Dan and Stacy, and together we got the VA in Wilkes-Barre Township to change its policy and allow people to get there. Look, Harry Truman said, you know, it's amazing what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit, and that absolutely is true. I'm very proud of the 16 bills that I've passed into law, but I'm more proud of the work that I've done representing the values of the people of Northeastern Pennsylvania. The fact is that I'm approachable. You can call me and talk to me. You come visit.
I was thinking the same thing, Mansour Balls.
Because
you don't really want to quote Truman, but then that quote is also
thank you, Mr.
a very good quote. So.
Well, again, thank you all for being here. This is going to be the most important election of our lifetime. And I'd like to start out by pointing out some of those values of Northeastern Pennsylvania. If those values are deciding between groceries and putting food in your refrigerator and paying for gasoline, and if you want to continue to have the environment in which we are in, then you should absolutely support my opponent. If you are okay with having a wide open border with 10, 12, 15 million
illegal. The hair is wild.
Across that and entering into our communities.
The cowlicks with the part.
For a change to start to reinvest into Northeastern Pennsylvania. Every single thing
it's a lizard suit.
Has been Northeastern Pennsylvania.
Lady B, good evening. This is Rob Brezhnehan,
Democrat idea,
Jr.,
idea, an independent idea,
Republican candidate for Congress in Pennsylvania.
We are going to support that, and we are going to fight tooth and nail to create the economic opportunities, the jobs, and we're going to secure that.
Ooh, indeed.
We have to. Because what's happening there is totally unacceptable on every single
one. You feel like you could knock on it, Torchy?
Our senior citizens. We have to take care of our veterans, and that's very noble if you did so much of accomplish that at the VA, because that is our most vulnerable population. Those people fought and served for our country. And what frustrates me to no absolute end is when you see those 10 million illegals that come across that border are being better taken care of than our own veterans. And I find that totally unacceptable.
I don't think that's true at all.
To represent you in Northeastern Pennsylvania.
I don't think we treat veterans particularly well, but I certainly don't think we treat
make promises,
immigrants well.
I will absolutely make. When I go to Washington, D.C., Every vote I take will be for what's best for northeastern Pennsylvania. I do not care if it's a Democrat or a Republican idea. If it's
Lady B comes from a land down under.
Like I've been doing my entire life, that's where my loyalty will lie. Thank you for the time.
I should not sing on stream. I'm not good at it. I'm good at the talking. I'm not good at the singing.
Will those statements bring to
Yeah, exactly, Lady B.
the candidates for the 8th Congressional District seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Thanks to Mr. Bresnahan and to Mr. Cartwright for participating. Many thanks to our esteemed...
This was the Pennsylvania 8th Congressional District debate. I told you I was going to cut into it whenever Eminem came out. Eminem has not come out yet. However, we have a huge celebrity, at least in the state of Michigan, who just walked out. We'll take her speech now from the Harris event in Detroit. I don't know if this is good audio. Okay, it's good. It's good. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Okay, we need 2 medics.
We need 2 medics in the house. Somebody has passed out.
We're good? Okay, we're good to go, they're saying. If anyone needs help, raise your hand and we'll make sure we get it to you. But let's give them space to do what they need to do.
Avalon, apparently no. Eminem will be introducing Harris surrogate former President Barack Obama.
My friends from Detroit, how about them Lions? Our team is showing the country what we are all about here in the Motors. Okay, we need another medic. I apologize.
Can we get another medic?
Yeah. Okay, where the sign is waving there, we need some assistance.
People straight passing out over Eminem, apparently.
You good? You got us? Okay, okay, I love you too. Let's stay safe and help one another. Yeah.
Don't shout you love politicians.
So our Lions, let me go back to the Lions, right?
Ow.
Our team is showing the country what we're all about here in the Motor City and in the great state of Michigan. We play hard, we work together, and we get shit done, right?
I understand why people like her. I get the appeal.
And we've been winning a lot. I think we should get used to it, right? This is a city and a state of underdogs. A city and a state who carries themselves with championship swagger. A community where people have one another's backs. And we never confuse cruelty with leadership. We know leadership.
What's the capital of Michigan?
And kind.
It's like Springfield? Well, it's Ann Arbor, isn't it?
This is the place that will elect Kamala Harris the next president of the United States.
Boom! Boom! Look at me knowing some geography.
Now, I am thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be here with Detroit's own Marshall Mathers. Now, we all know Eminem produced a hell of a show at the Michigan Central Station in Corktown. Am I right?
I think they're geography flash.
Thrilled to be here in Detroit, my beloved favorite city, who also...
But we have like what you call social studies in...
admired for a long time. Someone I've always looked up to. One of my all-time heroes, Barack Obama.
But Avalon, he's just Marshall Mathers. I should really stop singing. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Protected hundreds of thousands of jobs.
Is it Lansing? No, Lansing is just where Roseanne is based out of, isn't it?
Michigan is, and how important this election is that we elect.
No, wait a minute. They're not in Michigan, are they? They're in
president, as a senator,
Wisconsin.
Attorney General, as a county prosecutor, Kamala Harris has had one client her entire life.
All right, now we gotta look it up.
We the people. And let me just say, she's picked a hell of a running mate in Tim.
It's Lansing. Well, I'll be damned.
Together, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to work to make a real difference in your life.
I take back my
Lower our costs.
Lanford in Illinois. That's it. That's where
Protect good-paying jobs.
Roseanne is based out of.
Fundamental freedoms.
My apologies.
From building 3 million homes to tax relief for 100 million working and middle-class families.
Shortly, we are going to watch the New York 22nd Congressional District debate.
Seniors on
Took place earlier today, was released at 7 o'clock.
Workers and LGBTQ plus communities.
Well, it's like some of the capitals are obvious and some of them aren't.
They will fight for us because they have lived lives like ours. You know, Donald
Roseanne used to be awesome, yes. Like, being rich fucks with your head.
Do you think he's ever had to take things out of the grocery cart in order to pay the bill?
Like one up, tip on back, him, Lord.
I mean, you think he's, well, yeah, you're right. He doesn't pay the bills, does he? You think he's ever rushed out of the door to drive carpool? Come on. He doesn't have a driver's license.
Guys, you can never worry about me turning conservative because I don't think I can wrap my brain around it.
Walkway? I mean,
I've tried to put myself in the mindset how I could be a conservative. At one time, I tried to do it on April Fools. Ended up advocating for genocide, and I had to delete the VOD.
Elected. And once he is, he'll do nothing to help you or your family get ahead.
Oh, it's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for the Troll Patrol to come on. Oh, you damn right. We'll get us up to the opening here. Special Halloween. I love the Nancy Pelosi looks really scary for Halloween. Uh-oh. That's my favorite part. If I'm gonna have the Halloween opening, I'm gonna get some use out of it. Oh God, I think another person needs medical attention at the... Titty Slap is newer than these openings.
This is the Troll Patrol.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Either she's
with
cussing
Justin
somebody out or somebody needs medical attention again. Hold on. We gotta go back to Gretch over here. Something's happening.
Over here, please. Oh, I'm sorry. They need a gurney.
They need a gurney. What the fuck is going on?
Okay, if everyone can just... It's okay. It's okay. The help is getting there. I love you too.
She's so powerful, she's got the people that need a gurney.
Is someone who understands our lives. Someone who understands how hard it is day to day. Someone who understands every person deserves...
Do you think Gretch wants Harris to lose? Do you think
fundamental rights?
he wants to be able to run in 2028?
Big game, but he doesn't deliver. You all remember when he told us
She'd be a front runner.
plant would close. The truth is 6 closed when Donald Trump was president. He failed us. He crashed our economy, and he lost 280,000.
I totally see the appeal.
It cost us dearly, and we cannot let that happen again, so we are not going back.
Okay, Mox, I'll give you that. She's never really shown.
We're not going back.
Not like a Josh Shapiro, who is clearly
On the other hand, the Harris and Biden administration
clearly got his eyes on a higher office. Or Gavin Newsom. Yep.
yesterday, Hemlock Summit
I'll give you that, Mox. Yes.
won a huge federal investment to create thousands of jobs here in Michigan. Just think about that.
Possibly Flash? Is that a slogan that they have? I don't. It might be something local to Michigan, right?
Home after a long day at work and tuck their children in, knowing that their family is going to be okay.
Be brave, be kind.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration's investments in Michigan, there are more auto and construction workers. There are more factories and housing being built, more roads getting fixed.
Unfortunately, the
jobs than when Trump was president.
video quality is on them, not on me. I can't make it better.
Now, yes, and we're
I've
fixing
tried.
the damn roads. That's right. Okay. Now, we still have a lot of good work to do, but places like Detroit are moving forward, and Donald Trump just doesn't get that. I know you all saw what he said about this beautiful city. He called Detroit a failure and a mess, proving
it's kind of been revitalized in like the last 10 years. I've never been there, so I don't particularly know
what the hell he was talking about. And you know what I think? He ought to keep Detroit out of his mouth.
Keep Detroit out your damn mouth.
There's a woman with a t-shirt on that says, "Make America Detroit."
E bravas and kindest. I feel like I've driven through the southern part of Michigan for some reason. Maybe when I was going to Minnesota.
Backup choir, don't I? You know, this is a proud American city defined by grit and hustle. And these might be characteristics Donald Trump doesn't even know about. We have been underestimated before, and we live to prove the haters wrong, right? You are all here because you know the stakes.
It didn't all have to be in Detroit. They could have expanded to other areas of the country and just kept Detroit, as the hub.
Or gets them to turn out to vote is when they hear from their neighbors or their
But no, we gotta be greedy.
or their co-workers or their fellow
The people should own the company.
medic.
We need a medic again.
Medic over here, please.
This is how powerful Gretchen Whitmer is. Shelley, good evening.
Give me a thumbs up when we've connected, please.
This is like the, 5th time? Saw the 5G in the building. Is someone stabbing somebody?
Okay.
When we've connected. It's the 5G.
Let's thank all the first responders who are helping us out, all right?
Jesus.
So what?
This is Michigan. Didn't it snow already?
As they are going to make their decision about this upcoming election is hearing from you, from someone they love.
Oh my God, I should make this into one of those videos.
That's why you the people.
Be like, look at all these people passing out at a Harris rally.
The way we win this.
It was the COVID vaccine. They're all vaccinated. Oh my fucking.
Your voice is the power, and never forget it.
I can't flash.
Donald Trump knows this. That's why he tried to throw out.
I can't joke about it because right-wingers will take it seriously.
He knows that when Detroit shows up, he loses. And he's about to find out Detroiters don't play.
Don't play.
So, it's up to you, Detroit. Our choice is clear.
Well, I have to make the video tomorrow so I can get on top of it.
And Donald Trump wants to take us back. Kamala Harris will protect our freedoms. Donald Trump wants to take them away. She solves problems, and he is a problem. So, Detroit, let's make sure the world hears us.
She is sassy.
Okay.
Not like Sassy Snicks,
And let's make Kamala Harris the next president of the United
but she has a sassy personality.
Thank you. I love you. Big Gretch out.
Oh, I didn't know she actually called herself that. Well, here's the thing, Mox, is apparently the big money donors wanted to have a primary so they could fucking get Josh Shapiro in. I would much rather have Harris Walls than Josh Shapiro. Apparently, like, it was a power move on Biden's part to be able to say, no, you're not going to usurp me. I'm going to endorse her as part of her legacy. I'm for that. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that I totally would have been down for, Mox. Joe Biden should have never tried to run. I knew this would be a problem. I remember back to you. Not everybody was here. I was talking to like 2 people back at the time. But back in 2021, I said we needed to draft somebody from the left.
Barack Obama. And he will be out here shortly. We've had a lot of people passing out, having medical emergencies because it's been a long day. We've got water in the back. I'm asking everybody to bend their knees with me. If you need to sit down, feel free to sit down.
I don't think Harris is weak. I think she's
hurt. Thank you very much if you're feeling faint.
Way better at this than she was 4 years ago.
We'll get you back up. Thank you.
I think she's done a very good job.
We'll begin very shortly.
She definitely was in 2020. I think she has done a very good, because there's a lot of criticism for her to be had, but you have to remember in the context, this goddamn campaign didn't exist 2 months ago. That is an insane position to be put into. They got Aretha playing currently at the rally. We're going to watch the New York 22nd District debate after we check out apparently Eminem introducing former President Barack Obama. New name, what's going on, my friend? Welcome in. Zon, good evening. Do not take the brown acid. In the context of what has been, unburdened by what has been.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Oh yeah, my wish for all this is for Harris to win and for us as leftists to go back to being adversarial towards power and you fight from the left, and hopefully in 4 years we emerge with a much stronger coalition in Congress, maybe elect another couple of senators. Bernie is running for another term, but the man is old. We need more Bernies in there. I'm under no pretense that we're stuck with her until 2028. If she doesn't lose to a Republican. I mean, we're with her to 2028, you mean possibly 2032. T-minus, good evening. Welcome in. We are currently with the Harris rally in Detroit, Michigan. I love the strategy flash. I'm sure you've been keeping an eye on Dan Osborne in Nebraska. It's just better to be fighting with the Democrats, right? Because I feel like Trump gave us a Biden. You got to be safe to win the election. Whereas 8 years of Obama produced a Bernie Sanders candidate. I feel like after 4 years of Harris, possibly 8 years, people will be ready for a more populist candidate. And they'll feel easier about voting for it because, you know, the fascist. I'm talking about in the primary. Because hopefully the fascist threat has subsided at least a little. The mechanism is still in place. Everything that the Republicans have built in terms of their media empire, while parts of it are crumbling, like Tim Pool throwing a fit and quitting.
Ian Brocks.
We don't give a shit about Ian Brocks. Nobody gives a shit about Ian Brocks. I'm sorry. We have been here waiting on the celebrities. We've been waiting on Eminem and Obama. And they give us Ian Brocks, whoever the fuck Ian Brocks is. Let's take a real celebrity, shall we?
And ABC fake news is really one of the worst, I will tell you.
This is Trump live in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Use our airwaves, they don't pay anything. And then you hear that 60 Minutes, which is a news show, it's under their news division, so they're not allowed. This isn't an entertainment show, but they took...
We are waiting for Eminem.
They took a whole paragraph, big paragraph, just word after word. That was like the 32 that I listened to, you know, 32, with the teleprompter where she basically choked and froze.
The fuck is he talking about?
But that was like the 32. They took it out and they inserted a new answer that was more rational.
Oh, 60 Minutes.
You don't say, what's wrong with this person? Where did you ever hear them doing that? That's called election. This is an election. We're in the middle of an election. She gave a horrible answer on a news show that pays nothing for the airwaves that are worth billions of dollars. And the other...
Oh, yeah, but that was my point. So once Trump is neutralized...
See a bidding contest for who's going to do the news.
Hopefully.
There has to be some kind of justice in this country. You can't take
that however you want, you know, whether it's through the court system, whether it's through the fact that he just gives up and doesn't run again.
Interference.
Which I don't think is going to happen. I think he'll run again in 2028.
We'll see what happens. I actually think
there's not anybody on the Republican side that's charismatic the way he is, that can mesmerize the people.
Nobody's seen that.
So the mechanism will exist, but there has to be some sort of figureheads they can use.
They took the answer out. They put a new answer in. There's nothing. There's no justification. So we're probably going to take him to court. Should I take him to court? Okay. So we've asked him. We sent him a letter.
I'm talking in the event that he loses new name.
And we want to see.
He is going to run in 20. He said he won't, but I think he's going to run in 2028.
So I have your permission, right? Who would think?
Don Jr. couldn't even split the party. He would take maybe 10-15% with him.
They made him.
He doesn't have the charisma.
Somehow somebody saw the original answer, said that's not the answer she gave, and when they went back, they feel it was. They found out it was a fraud. It was a fraud on the American public.
I don't even know the details of what he's talking about.
And if they do pay a big price, it won't happen anymore. She's an international.
I can't imagine that it's going to be Vivek. I would hope that they are
in free fall.
That the Republicans are going to go with some sort of,
voters now in Michigan.
Glenn Youngkin.
Did you notice that
Brian Kemp?
Very good with the Arab voters. Did you see that?
Some just normal guy that could be Andy Griffith.
You know why? You know why? Because I want peace in the Middle East. I want peace. I did the Abraham Accords.
I think Ron DeSantis fell flat and is never going to run for anything again.
It's very simple.
DJ Dub.
I want to see peace in the Middle East. But my poll numbers in Michigan are very good. They were supposed to. I was supposed to.
I don't think anybody in this chat wants to hear Elise Slotkin. Alyssa Slotkin.
She is. But they don't like or respect her. She's sent their overseas.
She looks cool though. She's got like a duster on.
She's sent their jobs overseas. She's brought in crime to the cities.
I don't like
all of the
Duster Slotkin here. You got to see it because I can't. She said she needs Trump Slotkin voters in order to win her Senate race, and I about threw up in my mouth.
We know what we have to do. We have to elect Kamala Harris as our next president.
This CIA woman.
We have to elect the first woman president in history of
in a duster, a leather duster.
And we're going to do it because Michigan is the center of the frickin' universe right now. But don't worry, Michigan understands our goals. We understand what we have to do. We know what our responsibilities are. But let me just say this. This is a real full circle moment for me because I get to be here on stage.
Oh, she's so grating. I'm sorry. Dusters are cool. She is not.
Mistake that she's made. I think it's a great insult to Muslims all over the world, and I think that she's going to do very bad in Michigan. I really do. I think she's going to do very badly. To do that was a bad thing, and I was very surprised to see it. But in one way, I was happy because you have to understand I'm competing against her. I'm competing against this stupid person.
Oh, my God.
I have a feeling we're winning by a lot. But this person cannot be president. By the way, is there any place better to be than a Trump rally? And don't get used to this because it's only going to go on for another 2 weeks, isn't it? It's really something.
We are 2 weeks away.
Go on to. In 4 years, you'll be having rallies of 100 people, 200 people. Mr. Wall will be doing other things. Front row Joes are going to be doing, oh, these guys are boring as hell.
I feel like Michigan's safe.
Together with
Pennsylvania might be the one that flips.
People in Butler, think of that. We had 100 and.
But they went Democratic in 2022.
For New Jersey too. And 2 weeks ago in California, we had 109,000 people.
They've got a Democratic governor.
Don't get too used to this. What are you going to do, Mr. Wall, when you come to a rally and there's like 150 people? What are you going to do?
Based on what, Mox? This is in North Carolina.
Oh. You like, right? That's very good. That's good. Good man, I'll tell you.
I think Trump campaigning in a state he's won twice
And Hurricane Helene
is very telling.
Harris was at a glitzy fundraiser in the city that she destroyed, San Francisco. She spent the last 4 years taking your money to provide shelter and benefits to illegal aliens.
Here, since we're talking about it, let's do it. Let's do the math.
Your money, you know, they're going to probably have to call an emergency meeting, a special.
So I feel that North Carolina is going to go for Harris. And I think that blocks Trump in a lot of ways. So let's look at what the math gives us.
They were supposed to spend in North Carolina and Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida and South Carolina. The money was supposed to be spent.
That puts the Democrats at 242.
The money now. They don't have
So let's say Trump wins Wisconsin.
Think of it. Hundreds of millions of dollars they've spent flying
Let's say he wins Pennsylvania.
States all over the country and letting them.
But the Dems win Michigan.
Wall. Kamala Harris does not have the compassion, the smart.
Dems win Nevada. I'm pretty sure Dems are going to win Nevada.
Of the United States. She can't do the job. She's not.
Nevada has not been
do the job. And on top of all of it,
in contention. Joe Biden won it handily.
Not do anything.
Oh shit.
She said, then crooked Joe Biden.
The rhyme, these words in the rhythm for you to know.
What up, though? So look, I wrote down a few things I wanted to say. I love you too. Thank you. I'm here tonight for a couple of important reasons. As most of you know, the city of Detroit and the whole state of Michigan mean a lot to me. And going into this election, the spotlight is on us more than ever. And
this is indeed Eminem.
Voice. So I'm encouraging everybody to get out and vote, please. I also think that people shouldn't be afraid to express their opinions. And I don't think anyone wants an America where people are worried about retribution or what people will do if you make your opinion known.
Also, I think he has brain damage.
Supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld. And here to tell you much more about that, President Barack Obama.
It's the Mom Spaghetti song, in case anybody, that is a duster. Trying to tell me that's not a duster.
Hello, Detroit! You fired up? Are you ready to go?
Okay.
Hey,
Don't come down to her knees.
Let me just say, let me just say,
I would have said jacket hip length or longer. Cheers or good evening.
I gotta say, you know, I have done a lot of rallies, so I don't usually get nervous. But I was feeling some kind of way following Eminem.
I mean, he didn't do anything.
My palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting.
Chat, do you find this cringe?
Dun, 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 dun. I thought Eminem was going to be performing. I was going to jump out. Love me some Eminem. I love you back. All right. I love you back. It is good to be back in Michigan. Good to be back in Motor City. Now, I heard there was another rally here on Friday night, but it was a little smaller than this one.
Ow.
Don't boo now, vote.
Oh, this again.
I'm telling you right now.
How'd that work out last time, motherfucker?
They can't hear your boos, but they can hear your votes.
You really want to be coming out here and dropping 2016 lines on us?
Very important reason to ask you to vote for your congressman, Shri Tanada, for your next senator, Alyssa Slotkin, for the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
And I know you've heard this already, but it is worth repeating. Here in Detroit, early in-person voting has already started.
Apparently, if the dude was to run again, he could win easily.
Before you vote at any early voting site, early in-person voting begins all across Michigan on October 26th. And if you have an absentee ballot, just go ahead and return it. Don't be waiting. Just go ahead and do it.
Tell me about new name.
Where to vote early, where to register. If you need to find out where there's a ballot drop box near you, all that information's at iwillvote.com/Michigan. All right, and then you help your friends and family make a plan to vote too. Because together, Detroit, we have a chance to choose a new generation of leadership in this country. To start building a better and stronger
Possibly curious, sir. I was going to ask you about that.
and more hopeful America. And let me tell you, your vote is going to matter. Because we know this election is going to be tight. And it's going to be tight because a lot of Americans are still struggling.
You need a dropkick gif emote.
I miss you too, but hold on.
You want a specific dropkick? Do you have a specific wrestler whose dropkick you enjoy? Do you not even want it to be a wrestler? Do you want it to be something movie related?
As a country, hold on a second. As a country, we've been through a lot together.
Oh, no, I think I got it.
There was a historic pandemic, and it wreaked havoc on our communities and our families and our businesses. Disruptions from the pandemic then caused prices to hike, and that put a strain on family budgets. And people started feeling like no matter how hard they worked, they're just treading water. So I get why people are looking to shake things up. I understand that. But what I cannot understand is why anybody would think that Donald Trump will shake things up in a way that is good for you. Because there is absolutely no evidence that this man thinks about anybody but himself. I have said it before. Donald Trump is a 78-year-old billionaire who has
have weaponized law enforcement, the Department of Justice.
Oh, we got Tulsi out here.
To try to silence him, to try to remove him from the ballot, so we the people don't even have the choice to who we want to vote for. Why have they done this?
That's the best thing about her, Flash. I love the little. That's got a name.
The deep rot of corruption in this
It's cute.
Washington.
The deep corruption.
Now,
as she stand next to Donald Trump.
Made their voices heard loud and clear.
Timu Rogue.
Not twice, but 3 times in the last 3 presidential elections.
He does look like he's in front of a green screen.
Be the Republican nominee for president because of his
fair enough, DJ Dub.
American principles of
it's a new thing.
peace and prosperity. USA.
Speaking of me and Republican women, I didn't have the phone lines up. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get me a phone pad here I can work with.
Sorry, Senator Ernst Cedar Rapids is not available. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Good evening, Senator Ernst. My name is JustinFREAKIN. I host a show on YouTube and Twitch. I'm very politically motivated, and I would love to have you come on the show. Now, I might know that you're going through a divorce, and I have ulterior motives for wanting to bring you on. I want to make that clear up front, but I would like to interview you about, your policy and everything, and not about how I would really like you to dominate me because I really need a GOP mommy. If you'd like to get back to me, you can reach me at this number. It's 917-830-4359. This is the Troll Patrol Live. That's the name of my show, but don't take it that way. I'm not trolling you or anything. I am being Ernst. Senator Ernst. Thank you. I think you're wonderful. Have a fantastic evening. Please don't call the feds on me because this is weird. I'm sorry. We'll call back in 5 minutes. Completely irresistible. Live life with no regrets. Always shoot your shot. It's important to be Ernst.
I'm looking forward to casting my vote for President Trump because you are our best and only hope in this election to lead our country toward a future where every one of us can live in a truly free, peaceful, and prosperous nation.
Tones, Abattoir, there's been several of you sneak in on me as I'm dying over here, Minty.
This is our opportunity
1011
for freedom, to vote for peace, to vote for America, and vote for President Trump to go back to the White House and make America great again. Thank you so much.
Is she gonna hug him? Ooh. go back to Obama.
You'd call up. You'd call up your sister, your brother, your cousin. You'd be all like, let me holler at you. Have you noticed Grandpa? He acting a little funny. But this is somebody who wants unchecked power. We do not need to see what an older, loonier Donald Trump looks like with no guardrails. America's ready to turn the page. We're ready for a better story. Michigan, we are ready for a President Kamala Harris. And the good news is Kamala Harris is ready for the job. This is a leader who has spent her life fighting on behalf of people who need a voice, need a champion, somebody who was raised in the middle class. She worked at McDonald's when she was in college to pay her expenses. She did not pretend to work at McDonald's when it was closed.
They brought Obama out here to roast Trump. How did that work out last time?
The values that built this country. And she is as
That's what started all this shit.
our president has ever been. That's who
Because you made fun of him.
And in the White House, she'll have an outstanding partner in Governor Tim Walz.
That's not true. He's been threatening to run for president since the 80s.
Now, before I came here, I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and Tim Walz was there. And I love that dude. He's a veteran. He's a teacher. He's a coach.
I love that dude.
He's been a great governor. And he's a car guy. He can even take a vintage truck apart and put it back together again. Now,
He was the something or other nominee in like
do you think Donald Trump can
2008 or some shit.
Do you think Donald Trump has ever even changed a tire in his life? Let me tell you.
The Reform Party in 2000.
If that man gets a flat tire, what's the matter? We need an EMT?
Again?
I think we may need an EMT back there. That's all right. This always happens. Everybody bend your knees a little bit. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. You got to keep moving a little bit. Don't lock those knees. EMT right back there, please. Now, I am telling you, he has not ever changed a flat tire. He has his chauffeur change a tire. He says, Jeeves.
I don't know that he drives.
Jeeves, change that tire. That's what he calls him, Jeeves. I don't know if his name's actually Jeeves, but that's how I imagine it. The point is, if you elect Kamala and Tim, they will not be focused on their problems. They'll be focused on your problems. They can see you and relate to you because they've lived like you have. And they understand that too many folks in Michigan and across the country are still struggling to pay the bills. Now, understand, wages are steadily growing. Inflation is slowing. But the price of everything from healthcare to housing to groceries is still too high.
Still too damn high. Whose fault was that, Obama?
The question is, who's actually going to do something about it?
Yeah, if only somebody like yourself had 8 years in the presidency to do something about it.
And this is, you have to do a little bit of homework, kind of.
If I wanted to do something about it, I wouldn't make somebody like, I don't know, Timothy Geithner the Treasury Secretary. That doesn't seem right.
Corporations.
Doesn't seem like that's going to fix the problem.
Do not boo. Vote. Now.
Thanks, Obama.
I'll I'll be honest with you. I've been
Price everything's too damn high, he says. Yeah, thanks, Obama.
people say, well, you know, yeah, I know Trump's kind of goofy, but I do remember the economy when he first came in, it was pretty good. And I say, yeah, it was good because it was my economy.
I mean, he's right there.
I know y'all remember it. I know folks in Detroit remember it.
Hell yeah, bring back Elliot Spitzer.
Cleaning up the mess.
I don't even know why that motherfucker, what did he do that was wrong?
Y'all remember.
Oh, he got some hookers? Okay.
America was flat.
I don't care.
They didn't want to lift a finger to help.
Kimitsu.
And we made the investments to
Welcome in. Thank you for being a freaking follower.
put people back to work.
Anyone who's new here, I'm JustinFREAKIN. We cover the most absurd news, politics, and current events.
Over to Donald Trump.
Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Growth. Yeah, the economy was good.
And other times when big shit's going on.
And all he did
This is currently the Harris
was give a tax cut to people who
rally in Detroit, Michigan.
drove up the deficit in the process. Now he wants to do it again.
We can go back to the Trump rally in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Thank you.
Both of these are live currently.
We won a lot of things.
We have not had the swimsuit competition yet. I do not want to see either of them in a swimsuit.
It take 5 years. It took 4 weeks. We have a great military, and they're not woke. Some of the stupid people up top are woke, but they're not woke. You couldn't make them woke if you tried. You couldn't make them. You could put them in what's called a woke cage for 2 years, and they'd come out fighting, believe me.
In a woke cage. Put them in a woke cage.
With your vote this November, we are going to fire Kamala Harris, and we are going to save America. With your support, we will cut your taxes and
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Harris wear a bathing suit.
and bring
What color, Prometheus?
back to America and back to North Carolina. They're coming back. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American again. I will end the war in Ukraine very quickly. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. We're so close. The biggest risk is this number of months.
Someone pick a bandana color. A woke cage is kind of like a chastity lock, indeed. Sparkles, welcome back.
And give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly deserve. They will stop the crime. We will strengthen and modernize our military. You know, we rebuilt the entire military. And then they gave a lot of military. A lot of our military was given to Afghanistan. Isn't that nice? Think of that.
Media's got the white first.
That was the most embarrassing moment in the history. 13 dead soldiers, many, many horrifically wounded with arms and legs obliterated. They gave big...
It was like that one Metallica video where the dude couldn't talk.
Bagram, the air base, they should have kept Bagram. It's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear missiles. Isn't that nice? They didn't take it, and we left people behind. We left Americans behind. They moved the military out first. A child. You know, I had one of the rallies, and I had this little 5 or 6 year old boy in the front row, and I called him up to the stage.
A child is born.
But
American pride.
And I said, I gave him the facts in about 2 minutes. I said, would you move the military out first or last? I'd move the military out last, sir. These stupid people move the military out first, and then, and you know, I didn't lose one soldier.
I should have the change bandana color up higher. I've got it more on a, like,
the head of the...
to stop people from doing a lot. I think I've got it on a cool down.
And we had a talk, because they were killing a lot of our soldiers with sniper fire and other things, and a lot of them with Obama.
I don't think you can do it for like another 20 or 30 minutes.
I don't think Biden knew where the hell he was then either. So they were killing our soldiers, and I told them, I don't have to get into the conversation. For 18 months, we didn't lose one soldier. Then we had a tragic
Currently with
Tragic.
Donald Trump in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Least importantly, we wouldn't have had inflation, but we wouldn't have had Russia going.
No mention of Arnold Palmer's enormous penis.
Wouldn't have ever happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. Even the Democrats, most of them agreed.
What a handsome man, too, by the way.
But even they say it wouldn't have happened. And October 7th with Israel would have never happened.
I believe I see a bulge. That man is packing.
People were killed, and the hostages, now they're waiting for the hostages. There won't be many hostages. There are not going to be a lot of hostages. Those people are probably long gone. So many of them. I've been saying that for a long time. That's part of the problem.
Trump here on Hog Watch.
Because they don't have the hostages. It's a very sad situation. That would have never happened. All these things would have never happened. Think of the difference in the world.
I'm not the one stopping him from being gay. He's got the doing crimes part down.
He said,
I'm not stopping him from being gay. He needs to let his freak flag fly. That.
At least it's blowing up with Russia.
He needs to let his freak flag fly.
What is going on? He said, the problem is you don't have Trump. You put Trump back, it's all going to be better. They would have never done this with.
Does anyone have an idea who might be a gayer president than Trump?
Right? Peter knows, right, Peter?
I'd say Clinton's actually sucked some dick, but I don't know that he's gayer.
Shield all around our country. We're going to be safe.
Lincoln.
In the USA, it's going to be made in North Carolina partially. We will land an American astronaut on Mars, and we'll call Elon, let's get going. We want to do that. But we really want to, and as part of that, we were in big trouble in space. China was lapping us, and Russia was lapping us. And I created Space Force. And now we're lapping the whole world with Space Force. They've done a
Who's the bottom on that one?
part of that whole
Fair enough, Lucky. It's an insult to gay people.
protection. It's going to be a
But he has an obsession with dicks.
best decisions we ever made doing.
All Republicans have an obsession with dicks.
Build our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our...
Lincoln literally got a back shot. Oh.
And we're going to go to Congress and ask very strongly because that
Two tops touching tips.
riot that they had
That's fun.
months ago.
Can you rub them together?
It's all over the place.
Oh,
We're going to
frauding.
Congress
Frothing?
to
Not frothing.
It's
Frauding.
unconstitutional. I disagree. To give a 1-year prison sentence for anybody burning the American flag.
That's like the hottest thing in the world, too. Rub them dicks together.
Of a plan. And it's
A docking is when you got the foreskin, you put them together, and
resentful and angry.
no, frauding is just when you got them together.
There wasn't
Or if you're like, you're
to bring
if you're coming at them this way, you're like laying together, you might do it this way. If you're like standing together, you might do it this way, and then
Republicans in Congress. It was
rub them together.
And Donald Trump decided
That would be
to tank that bill. He
sword fight. Sword fighting is like actually like.
because he wanted the issue for the election. He thought it would be helpful to him when he ran for president. Think about that.
Do you guys not fucking watch porn? What the hell? Or am I just? Do I have an addiction?
We need a president who wants to solve problems and make your life better.
Rot block.
And that's what Kamala Harris is going to do.
Sword fighting is literal dick on dick violence.
And to help her do it, she will need a Senate.
Yes and no.
Now, some of you may not be aware.
I wouldn't say I'm into niche porn. I like homemade
She was in the administration. She was
people getting gangbanged and fucking strangers.
national security briefings on some
Ironic. Good evening.
issues we were dealing with. Alyssa don't play. She is serious.
Is that niche?
And on some of these key issues, I'd have her negotiate on my behalf because
There is no porn on the monitor right now.
compromise and when you had to stand firm.
I would be afraid I'd like cut to it and I'd lose my Twitch.
Matter to you, like bringing down the cost of prescription drugs and bringing supply chains back to the U.S. and creating good jobs right here in Michigan, working with state government. This is the kind of person we need in Washington, because presidents can't do it alone.
Oh yeah, we're totally gonna get to the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch and his sex trafficking charges.
Somebody who
We've got news.
wants to move the country forward and not back. Now,
Do you guys want to do the news or do you want to do
that we worked on, that all of
New
you
York's 22nd Congressional District
is
a toss-up.
about that just for
No, it's a lean Democratic seat
I don't think we've ever
occupied by a Republican.
candidates
It's one Democrats should be able to take back.
whose understanding of freedom is so different. Because for Donald Trump and his cronies, freedom basically just means getting away with stuff. He wants to be able to
Kids should learn about no. I'm not going to say that.
bust unions and get away with it. Or allow companies to pollute our water and our air and get away with it.
Oh, you came on during the Libertarian Convention. That was like back in May.
When people were dying and hospitals were being overrun, he actually said, I do not take any responsibility.
Who's getting tossed off?
I do not believe any American president has ever uttered
You're
those
getting
words.
tossed off. I got some advice for you.
That's his idea of freedom. He gets to do what he wants, and he's not responsible for anything.
Wash your ass.
We have a broader idea of freedom. We believe in the freedom if we're willing to work hard to provide for our families. We believe in the freedom to breathe clean air
Dig on Dick Bourne.
and send our kids to school without worrying if they're going to come.
Flash and think, wait a minute, you tried to talk me out of the.
We believe that
Convincing them people were passing out from the COVID.
right to make decisions.
Oh, I've got the Obama doing it too, don't I? I can add to the video.
That other people have the freedom to make different choices.
I don't want to get taken off YouTube for misinformation.
On tough issues, let's take.
I've had a strike for so long. Finally, I'm nothing. I am free and clear on YouTube. No warning, no strike, no nothing.
And I respect anybody whose face tells them this isn't something they can support. But if we believe in freedom,
I fucking love it. That's why we were talking about frauding.
Personal decision should be made.
I love doing it. I love watching it. It's a lot of fun. Rub them dicks together. DJ, welcome in. Thank you for the resub.
And the majority of America agrees with it, which is why you've been.
Anytime I comment on YouTube, I get a time in, a timeout.
When he ran for president the first time, he said he'd support punishing women who got in
I'm a freak. I'm into everything.
Now, just a few weeks ago, he told women, I'll be your protector. I'll tell you how he protected you. He handpicked
Sexual anarchy.
justices
You live
that
in
overturned
sexual
Roe
anarchy?
versus Wade. He bragged about it. Now there are Trump abortion bans in 20 states, many of them with no exceptions for rape and incest. And he's going around saying everybody wanted it.
No, I'm top verse. I don't own any butt plugs.
So, Donald Trump may be confused, but let's be clear about what's at stake here.
I will bottom on rare occasion.
Slotkin to the Senate. She will vote to restore the reproductive freedom that women had for nearly 50 years. And if Congress passes that bill, Kamala Harris will sign it into law.
Justin gets time out on his own video comments.
And
I do want to get Flash. What do you know about it?
of how elections matter. And I want to spend.
I always had a fantasy of like being with two guys, and one of the things I wanted to do was have both of them fuck me, and then the daisy chain thing, and I did it, and it was awesome.
Politics can seem sometimes.
Frustrated.
Lord knows.
If I say it,
I don't watch cable.
It's TMI.
Because it give you a headache.
But like, I have real bad stomach issues, so
Put you in a bad mood.
I don't do a lot of it. I love butts. I eat ass.
Folks are just arguing and bickering.
I fuck ass.
And then nothing gets done, and so you start.
I don't usually use my ass for any kind of thing.
But in fact, your vote.
Izzy, you didn't need to hear that. It's TMI. But you guys, you kept pushing.
Can make your life a little bit better or a little bit worse. Now,
nobody needed to hear that.
I think have the wrong idea.
Well, maybe somebody on like a dating site or a dating thread board.
Poverty will still exist.
Tragic club for bottoms with IBS.
Walls get elected because it's a hard problem. Racism doesn't go away based on one vote or one administration.
I know about lube usage too.
Those things don't stop overnight.
Well, I'm very open. I should probably TMI my stream. This is too much information on everything.
Those little differences become big differences.
People come for my political opinions. They don't. They come for my news selection. Hear my weird sexual proclivities. Did I ever hit the... Somebody did the weed thing. Did I ever hit the bowl?
Others worked really hard, and we got a lot of stuff.
I feel like I just did. I feel like my lungs have collapsed.
I didn't solve, for example, all the problems with our healthcare system. But almost 50 million people have gotten healthcare through the Affordable Care Act. It made a difference in their lives. Everybody here, everybody in this auditorium knows somebody who would not have had health insurance if it hadn't been for that bill. More than
I do. I know several people
with pre-existing conditions
I know several people.
Or charged more.
People say Democrats don't get the shit done, but like that is one thing you can point to.
Sick. Even if they got cured, the fact
Mox also makes a good point. I try to be fair.
They might not have been able to.
It's all in context.
So no.
So like, what you gonna get from any other fucking party? You gotta take over the Democratic Party, make it better.
That a little bit of change for the better makes
Thank God that the candidate last night in Vermont said Medicare for all.
that nobody talks about.
Right, not the candidate, the representative.
Why we don't talk about it? When I
Congresswoman Bylant.
In my second term.
Baylant. That's it.
Dealing with, we had seen like the H1N1 virus and the Ebola virus, and I talked to scientists, and they said, look, with globalization, with travel, growing populations, at some point we're going to have a big pandemic. So I said to my team, I said, look, the same way we plan for hurricanes and tornadoes, we actually have to plan for a pandemic. So we put together a whole playbook, talked to the experts, we got all the agencies together. We
said, you can say go back to Trump. You can.
Here's how we are going to deal with the public health system. Here's how we're going to deal with the schools. Here's how we're going to accelerate vaccination.
Actually, let's do the debate.
And here's how we're going to explain it to people so people can understand it.
Yeah, Trump's wrapped up already. Obama's still going. Oh, here I was doing the math. So I'm feeling like North Carolina, the Democrats are going to win. Let's say Trump wins Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Arizona, Georgia. That gives him the win, so Harris needs any one of those states. Now, what if we say Wisconsin goes blue? Because it did go blue. It has a governor that is a Democrat and was won by Joe Biden in 2020. If we say that Pennsylvania goes blue, That's enough to give Harris the win with North Carolina. Without North Carolina, she still gets the win. To hit 350. So if she wins the states that Joe Biden won and picks up, this is the rosiest of scenarios. She wins the states that Joe Biden won. She picks up North Carolina. She comes in at 319. The next closest states are Texas and Florida. And that would put her at 389. But Texas is the most likely to flip. That puts her at 359. Good night, Lenny. Okay, is Allred not up in his Senate race, Mox? I'm not saying this is the most likely scenario. I don't think it is. I think it's going to look more like this. I think Trump is going to win Georgia. I think Harris is probably going to win Arizona. Arizona has been trending blue. Nevada has been trending blue. Michigan has been trending blue. So I think this is probably the most likely scenario. 303. If Trump flips one of the states that Joe Biden won in 2020, I think it's most likely to be Pennsylvania. That still does not get him the presidency. I think Harris has the most likely path. And if he's able to flip Wisconsin, Mock says Michigan. I think Michigan's been trending blue. Wisconsin went with Ron Johnson in 2022. So if Wisconsin and Pennsylvania flip red and she wins Arizona and North Carolina, she's got it with 274. I think she has the most paths to victory. Because if we start off with the states that Joe Biden won in 2020, subtract Georgia, I think but Georgia's been trending blue. They still elected a Democratic senator, but Trump is different. So Georgia is hard to tell. I think she has far more paths because what if she wins Georgia? Then that allows her to lose several more states. I think she has more paths. Now, right-wingers are pointing towards the betting averages, and that's stupid. That's fucking stupid. The betting is all going towards Trump because it's idiot chuds that bet. If she can lose, I think it's something like 64 to 38 or some shit like that. I know I'm horrible at math, so I have no idea.
But then you take my 75% chance of winning, and then add 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
63, overwhelmingly in his favor. I think if somebody put some money on Harris, they would make some money. That's just me. I don't endorse gambling. And that was totally not an endorsement of gambling here on this stream. because I think that's TOS on Twitch. I've never had to worry about it before.
The White House is...
Do not look to the show with the troll head for any kind of financial advice.
Republican Congressman Brandon Williams asking for a second term, hoping to keep the GOP in power. Democrats are relying on State Senator John Mannion in their fight to take the seat and the House majority.
So once again, this is a Democratic seat held by a Republican.
To Cortland. The map is different, but the issues are the same. The economy and cost.
Are there? Didn't they have to move the kick for that?
And more for their.
Or did Twitch legalize it?
Early voting opens this weekend. The candidates are right here, head to head, in a showdown for your vote. From your local election headquarters, this is a debate in the race for Congress in New York's 22nd District, sponsored by AARP New York. Republican incumbent Brandon Williams and Democratic challenger John Mannion. Here now are your moderators, News Channel 9's Jeff Kulikowski and Andrew Donovan.
And good evening. Welcome to those watching in both the greater Syracuse and Utica areas, and welcome candidates.
Candidates, thank you for being here. Both of you have agreed to rules for this debate, including an opening coin toss, which happened a moment ago, and that determines that the first question will be answered first by State Senator John Mannion. The airwaves, as you both know, have been infiltrated with political ads, funded both by your campaigns and action committees. Congressman Williams wants to ban abortion in New York is one claim. Congressman Williams plans to cut Medicare and Social Security. Senator Mannion is an Albany abuser. Senator Mannion lets out violent criminals and defunds police.
Goddamn.
These attacks head on. Which one is most leading about your character and policies? Senator Mannion gets to answer first.
Thank you. So first of all, let's talk about the law enforcement piece here. Number one,
the moderator just started out, let me roast both of you.
One of my elections, including this one. Number two, I have supported law enforcement all along. I have strengthened our bail laws, which were passed prior to me being in office. We've given judges more discretion, we've made more crimes bail eligible, and we've addressed the reoffending issue. I have created the first police force in over 50 years in New York State with my legislation as at the Syracuse Regional Airport Authority. On the other attacks that have come against me that are unfounded and have been investigated and unproven, my opponent and his friends' actions are disgusting. They're untruthful. They should be rejected. And what we've seen is the infiltration of nasty politics representing
coming in hot. I love it.
Like Texas that should be rejected. It's a cowardly act and should have stopped a long time ago.
Congressman Williams, you get a minute also to address these attacks head on, the attacks against you.
So they've spent now $4 million lying about my statements and record on abortion. I've been absolutely clear and consistent, Andrew, even here in this studio over the last 2 years. I will not support a...
That's not your catchphrase.
...on abortion, and I've said that clearly. I won't vote
this
for...
This is my catchphrase, one of them.
I support exceptions for abortion, for life of the mother, rape and incest, and I still am pro-life by my faith. And so, but to spend $4 million saying things that I never said is just...
Can't do that, I got trademark.
And it is such a disservice to women and to lie to women. They've also said I will cut Social Security when in fact I've crossed the aisle to strengthen Social Security. And have done that just in the last 2 months.
This guy looks like an older Mike Johnson.
Party for the Social Security Fairness Act. The ethics charges against my opponent are absolutely true, and they're absolutely serious, and those women deserve to be heard.
He's got an app where like he keeps track of his grandson's
topic. The DOPS
porn usage.
2 years ago thrust reproductive rights and abortion more into the spotlight than ever before. Even though New York has codified abortion rights, Congressman Williams, I'm going to ask you...
Are you saying like if Anderson Cooper fucked Mike Johnson, that's what we get?
Well, what would you do if leadership came to you and said, we need your vote on this matter?
You know, I've said the same thing since 2 years ago, since I started in politics. I say the same thing to Republican leadership behind closed doors, and that is, I am pro-life.
That's a good question.
I believe that there's exceptions in the case of the life of the mother, incest and rape, and I will not I repeat, I will not support a national abortion ban.
It's Syracuse.
This is a state that has been, I'm sorry, an issue that has been adjudicated.
Upstate New York, Rome, Utica.
Issue. And as you mentioned, and as you stated, abortion was made legal in New York State in 1974. It has been the law of New York State for 50 years. Neither one of us is going to change that. And neither one of us is going to change which actually is legal and permitted in New York State. The fact that they would double down, triple down, and spend $4 million.
That's something I should have known, T-minus.
With a false ad.
I should have been prepared for that as a professional broadcaster.
I think, as my wife said in my defense, women don't like to be lied to, and they are misleading.
Thank you. Senator Mannion, slightly different question, same topic though. How far would you go to roll back restrictions resulting from the Dobbs decision?
I'm the only person running for this seat that can be trusted when it comes to protecting a woman's right to choose. My opponent has changed his messaging. He has changed his statements. In fact, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, he referred to it as a monumental win. Additionally, he, on a radio program, said that it was unfortunate that we could not change the laws in New York State, which tells you everything you need to know, which is that he wants to change the laws in New York State.
He kind of looks like the character Michael Jackson dresses up as.
At his word, that he would allow
in that movie he did in the 90s.
In the instances of rape, incest, and the life of the mother, his words, that's not good enough for the women of New York 22. What we need to do is restore Roe v. Wade, which was the law of the land, precedent setting for 50 years. Our daughters and our granddaughters now will have fewer rights than our mothers and our grandmothers.
Congressman, do you have a chance for some additional time, a rebuttal, if you have anything that you'd like to say there?
He looks pissed.
Over and over again, and this is what you'll hear for the next hour, sadly, because this is the only line of attack that they're trying to win this election on. We are facing so many issues as a nation that have to be addressed. If you look at the policies that have come out of Albany for the last 4 years, I would just ask, are we better off? It's our nation safer. I often ask, imagine how much better your life would be if Lee Zeldin was governor of New York State today. And I see a wash of relief over people's faces when they think about what's happened with cashless bail, what's happened with Raise the Age, what's happened with the taxes in New York State, and what's happened with sanctuary cities. There are so many issues that we're going to get to today, like my opponent calling voters idiots for having concerns about illegal immigration. You can't send this kind of policies to Washington, D.C. That's not the direction our country or this community wants to go.
Senator Mannion, I'm going to give you a chance to respond to that.
So the congressman here chooses when he wants to be truthful and when he doesn't want to. Those are words that I've never said, but he's using this opportunity like he has in the millions of dollars that have flowed into this district, the millions of dollars that have flowed into this district to misrepresent me. I've been a teacher. I've been a representative of teachers. I've been a state senator, and I've lived in this district my entire life. People know me, I know them, and they trust me. And what he is putting up on television in front of our children and in front of our seniors, these mistruths, this toxic messaging, is absolutely repulsive. We should not stand for it. Myself as a father and as a teacher, when I hear people come to me and say, I cannot believe that he's putting these horrific lies out there and the millions
he's getting emotional
coming in for it, that is not representative of this region. We reject that. We have in the past, and we will again. The voters will reject it on November 5th.
Gentlemen, I'm just going to go a little bit deeper, and then we're going to move to a different topic, but it's similar.
This guy's eyeballing me.
Issue. Senator,
he's side-eyeing me now.
What's your position on fertility treatment?
Don't trust him.
In vitro fertilization, IVF, that many refer to it as.
So with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and this is where the word trust comes into play, we cannot trust individuals like my opponent when it comes to in vitro fertilization, a procedure that has changed the lives of families across this country. If 10 years ago someone came to you and said, there is a possibility that there are places in this country or the entire country where IVF therapy is not going to be permitted, it would be considered outrageous. That is something that would be reflective of a country somewhere else in the world. But this is where we are at this moment in time, where women's rights have been stripped away, and we're looking to prosecute researchers and doctors and family members who want to build their own family through a widely accepted and widely popular therapy. It is beyond me. I can't believe the question even has to be asked in 2024.
Congressman,
you're right.
That question, though, your position on fertility treatments.
Sure, and it's been the same. I actually have family members that are here because of fertility treatment, and we love them, and I wouldn't exchange that for anything, which is why I've always supported IVF. It's interesting, the tirade of my opponent talking about lies, and you can see the doublespeak that he uses. So I have never said anything or voted in any way to oppose IVF, and I would certainly support it because it's made our family richer, my extended family richer, and we're proud to celebrate that. In addition, I like supporting and I'm looking for opportunities to support adoption services and crisis pregnancy.
Did you make money off IVF, motherfucker?
More life into this world. I've championed the child tax credit so that we can help.
You didn't say it helped you have a child. You said it made you richer.
We actually have a fertility problem in our country, and I'm excited to be a part of that solution, and particularly for providing child care for law enforcement families, because it's such a difficult schedule that they keep.
All right, we'll move on to another top issue for vote.
Child care for law enforcement.
And border security, a dominant issue of this election cycle. But it's been a problem for decades. Really, every Congress, every president has failed to truly address it. Why is this time different? And why are you the potential congressman to be involved in a solution? Congressman Williams, we start with you.
Well, I've been down to the southern border, and I can tell you it's absolute anarchy, and it's tragic to see the human trafficking.
Is it sexual anarchy?
More than 10 million, maybe even 16 million illegal immigrants have come into this country since Joe Biden has taken office. And
he does kind of look like Merrick Garland. I think he looks more like Mike Johnson.
The policies of the previous administration.
There you go. If Mike Johnson and Merrick Garland fought.
Created this crisis. It's a crisis on our state budget. It's a crisis.
Donna D'Agostino. Who am I? I am Justin Freakin. Welcome in.
Trafficking.
We cover the most absurd news, politics, and current events on the internet.
Invasion of drugs, particularly fentanyl, that's affecting lives right here in our community.
This is the New York
is to have a
22nd District Congressional debate.
Begins with border security. And we passed H.R. 2 in the House, the comprehensive border bill. In the early months that I was sworn
in. It's just a thought experiment, DJ Dub. Minty, did I tell you? Good evening.
For almost 2 years.
Merrick
Garlson. The current president seem to be taking the heat on immigration. So how would you either buck your party or pave a new way for Democrats if you win in the House and take control of the entire Congress?
So, Andrew, back to your original question, there's a reason that our immigration system remains broken, and that's because it's been highly politicized. And what we watched in this past year is that politics took precedent over our nation's security. My opponent here.
This is New York.
What we need to do.
New York State.
I agree with him on what we need to do. The difference is there's one person standing on this stage that could have done something, and he did not take action. He continues to talk about it. He continues to use toxic language. But what he refuses to do is to take a meaningful piece of legislation.
Democrat on the right, Republican on the left.
In a bipartisan way coming out of the Senate, and he rejected it. He didn't just reject it, he rejected it for political reasons at the direction of former President Trump, who his words said he did not want President Biden to get a political win, and therefore our immigration system remains broken when it could have been fixed, and he allowed it to be that way.
So, Senator Mann, if you win, what would you do?
I would certainly negotiate with the Senate, with Republicans, with Democrats, and with other members in the House to make sure that we have a comprehensive bill that increases funding for our border security, that increases funding for our courts, that changes a broken asylum seeker process that has been taken advantage of. That piece of legislation that was rejected by the House had so many meaningful pieces of it, would have moved us forward, would have finally fixed our immigration system. But we left it broken. He left it broken because of political reasons. So we need those things. We need, when someone comes to this country, they should be treated humanely, but also, if they are coming seeking asylum, we need our asylum courts to be funded so that those hearings occur quickly, and either individuals will remain in that process or they will have to return to where they came from, their country of origin. That's what we need to do, and I'm willing to do it with all parties, Republican and Democrat.
Congressman, that bill your desk, but you had said that you would vote against it. It was dead on arrival.
I don't think I said those things, but it's true. It's a shame that he doesn't know how our government works. That Senate actually was never voted on, that bill was never voted on in the Senate either, because even though it was discussed, it couldn't even get enough Democrat votes to get out of the Senate and over to the House. We are in the House of Representatives. And so there was never a vote on this bill. James Lankford, who's the author of that bill, senator from Oklahoma, is a friend of mine. I've spent a lot of time talking with Senator Lankford about this.
Fuck Lankford.
It was not going to solve the border crisis. And
tomorrow night you get a New York Senate debate.
The border crisis. It was
Kirsten Gillibrand and
the flood of
I forget what the dude's name is.
That was unleashed by the border czar Kamala Harris and by Joe Biden. And again, I ask the listeners to understand the deception.
Two big Senate debates tomorrow night.
Is making in the misrepresentations that he's making about these issues. That's simply not how this came about, and that's not what how our government works.
I'll be quieter during those.
Did you want a quick word on this?
There is one reason why our immigration system remains broken, and that is because it was directed by Donald Trump to members of the House of Representatives to make sure that bill never made it over, because he did not want anyone to get a political win. It's that kind of politics that the people of Central New York and the Mohawk Valley reject, and it is that type of language that you continue to hear out of my opponent's mouth, which is divisive, toxic, degrading, trying to tear things down. He is not the candidate of addition and multiplication. He is the candidate of subtraction and division.
Paul Ryan was earlier.
Keep moving on to other topics. Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh, for just one locally.
And he was naming off like
the federal government
kinks.
The issue of guns, especially ghost guns. Senator Mannion, you get to tackle this question first. What would you do in Congress to help stem the flow of guns into this community?
So I would point to my record in the state, which is we have passed meaningful legislation related to gun trafficking, specifically ghost guns, and making sure that the penalties are there, they're severe, and that people are held accountable. I also commend our federal and state agencies who have made a commitment to trying to get our guns off the street. We need safe communities. We need to make sure that our law enforcement and our district attorneys have every tool necessary to stop this gun trafficking. In New York State, gun violence is currently down. And when you talk to district attorneys, law enforcement, other advocates, they will point to the gun laws in New York State that are working to make our communities as safe as possible.
I feel like I had this dude as a substitute teacher.
County, Onondaga, to allow for rifle hunting of bears.
Like junior high.
Only one of 2 counties that did not have that. So I support a person's individual gun rights, but what I cannot support is when people profit off of gun trafficking and the mass shootings that are occurring across this country.
Senator, thank you, Congressman. You get to tackle this question too. How would you in Congress help stem the flow of guns, especially illegal guns, into this community?
Yeah, ghost guns have no place in our society, but it does actually point to some of the problems.
I'm a believer that ghosts should be allowed to own guns under the Second Amendment.
For criminals to make guns, to produce guns, and that have no record of origin, it's almost impossible to keep guns out of our communities. New York State has some of the toughest gun laws in the country, and yet we still have gun violence. And so clearly we need to do more to support law enforcement. It is a...
Does everybody remember who's the Democrat and who's the Republican?
And it's criminals that violate endlessly our gun laws and circumvent them and threaten the public, which is precisely why we have a Second Amendment right in this country. I would point to the real challenge on crime is the cashless bail laws. My opponent loves to talk about strengthening cashless bail. I don't see anything strong about it, and I think law enforcement professionals agree.
This is just a quick yes or no to both of you. Senator Mannion, would you support a ban on assault weapons?
Yes.
Congressman Williams?
I would not.
Well, staying on the topic of crime, and you've already referenced data here that a lot of data shows that violent crimes are down, but property crimes are not. And oftentimes that's a crime that everyone is impacted by. There are benefits from bail reform, but there have been consequences too, and it's come up in this very campaign. Congressman Williams, we'll start with you. What's a good compromise that gives young criminals a second chance and a chance to rehabilitate, but without making it feel that youthful offenders are just getting off with no consequences?
Well, you know, as you said, there are benefits.
You just want to lock kids up.
To bail reform. Unfortunately, all those benefits are for criminals and not for the law enforcement or for the citizens. And that is true for Raise the Age as well. I routinely talk to law enforcement professionals that tell me that children under the age that are committing these terrible crimes laugh in the police's face because they know they can't be cuffed. You know, I'm endorsed by the largest police department, public PBA in this district.
Already hated you.
District here in Syracuse, and I'm very proud of that endorsement because they are fed up. They are fed up with how hard their jobs are. We're having a hard time attracting people to law enforcement, and so all of the
that's a good thing.
All of the law enforcement departments in our region are understaffed and are buckling under the laws passed by my opponent. There is simply not a law enforcement professional that supports Raise the Age or the cashless bail laws.
But there are people that say there have been benefits to changing bail and cashless bail and things like that. What would you say is a compromise to help maybe stem these property crimes and some of these youthful offenders from repeating, but keeping some of the benefits that bail reform legislation came with?
Well, I would say let's start by backing law enforcement. My opponent is backed by the Working Families Party that supports defunding the police. I haven't heard him renounce or denounce.
Whoa, he's backed by the WFP?
Because those are the people in his court. The compromise I would come up with is let's start by backing the blue and standing up against these crazy policies that have come out of Albany. I had one law enforcement professional actually.
He sure doesn't talk like it.
Actually concerned for the safety of the criminals that are committing these crimes because it is so incentivizing recidivistic behavior, that they're repeat offenders. Something's got to be done because people are getting hurt.
Senator Mannion.
My opponent continues to distort my record, and honestly, he's not honest about his own record. He voted to cut funding for federal law enforcement agencies, which would have cut upwards of 30,000 positions. So he likes to use a catchphrase of defund the police, but his actions actually show that, and mine do not. I've supported budgets to make sure that our law enforcement agencies have every resource necessary to be able to do their job. Additionally, I've supported local departments with mental health grants to make sure that our officers and their families receive the support that they need, grants for technology to help them be able to do their jobs, grants for training. So I will continue to do that. What we need for our young people is, yes, we need accountability. We absolutely have an accountability problem. That legislation was passed before I was in office, and I would absolutely changed that legislation. The problem with it when it happened is after a young person was arrested and did go to court, the funding was not there so that they could turn their lives around in programs that were meaningful. And unfortunately, many of those people without that funding are back right on the streets in an impoverished situation.
They don't need fucking programs.
Leads to criminal activity.
They probably need a stable home.
We have to support our systems so these kids
a good support structure,
at a better life and a pathway to success.
Senator, thank you. Congressman, thank you. Let's move to issues that are impacting people's wallets. Inflation has dropped to its lowest point since it first really began surging more than 3 years ago. Gas prices here are now averaging about $3.25 roughly. Food price increase leveling off, although not really dropping. And we will get to housing specifically in just a minute. So we'll.
He's staring at me.
Senator Mannion, you'll start.
Make him stop.
How people keep up with the basic cost of living these days.
I point to my record and what I did to take action when clearly when we saw increases in inflation as a result of a worldwide pandemic, as a result of supply chain issues, we needed to take action and we did. So as a very strong voice in getting things passed, including property tax relief for every property owner in this state, accelerating the middle class tax cuts to keep dollars in people's pockets, and suspending the gas tax when those gas prices were high. On top of that, it was my advocacy that led to the expansion of universal pre-K across this state.
Oh shit, I didn't think about that, Frags. You just blew my mind.
Our small universal pre-K program.
Yeah, but like, am I mean mugging you?
Of universal school meals so that families can.
Or do I look welcoming?
Pocket while their kids can go to school and get a nutritious breakfast and lunch. And finally, in the state, but not at the federal level, we passed the child tax credit to help growing families make ends meet.
Congressman, how would you help people keep up with the basic costs of living these days?
Well, listen, to quote a previous president, government isn't the solution. Government.
What does that mean anyway? Make ends meet. Is that about two bottoms?
Particularly the policies of the last 3.5 years have resulted in the economic challenges that we face today. I would just start by asking, were you better off 4 years ago? And I think virtually
everyone this shit again
would say yes, they were, certainly economically. When it comes to
ass to ass, ass to ass, ass to ass,
in the Congress before I was elected has directly led to the record inflation. The record high inflation of the last 40 years. All of the prices that you see at the grocery store are precisely because of this irresponsible behavior from the Biden-Harris administration. The same is true on energy. I'm a nuclear engineer. I have thousands of hours supervising the operation of nuclear power plants. We have making disastrous decisions about energy that are also driving up the costs. The truth is we need less government regulation and less government interference and get back to the policies that worked just 4 years ago.
Senator, I'll give you more time. I saw you kind of motioning like you wanted something to say. And Congressman, I'll let you respond as well if you choose.
The congressman must have a short memory because the deficit increased more over the course of 4 years under President Trump's leadership than at any other time in this nation's history. And if we're talking...
I'd be over here in that debate like, I don't remember saying or doing that, but I might have.
More than ever before came under a Republican administration, then the economics of the day, that pattern would take time to increase that inflation. Additionally, the former president had conversations with the leaders of Saudi Arabia and Vladimir Putin in Russia to cut oil production in those.
I should run as a libertarian.
Oil production, increased costs in energy, and as a result of those increased costs, it led to worldwide costs when it comes to all other consumer goods.
Congressman, you have a chance to respond if you'd like.
Sure. Well, speaking of short memories, the deficit spending and stimulus spending that was necessary to save our economy during COVID is the spending that he's talking about. It's the other $6 trillion that came that was unnecessary in the Biden administration that has caused all this inflation. Economists agree. And instead of
Well, 6 trillion is that?
Energy production. Joe Biden actually has killed domestic energy production. And then right before
like a 4-point-something bill.
Begs Venezuela, begs Russia, and begs
the Build Back Better Act, but that's over like 10 years.
Emirate states for more.
It's actually kind of a measly amount.
He also depleted our strategic oil reserves to their lowest level ever, only for his own political benefit. You know, my opponent has no experience.
No. We made millions on the deal.
And
they've started to replenish them. I've looked this up.
Or in business, including an MBA from the leading business school in the world. And
eased gas prices.
Having people
made money on the deal.
Economy in positions to make these kinds of decisions has resulted in the problems that we've seen in the last 3.5 years.
I said I wanted to get to housing specifically, so I want to make sure we get there. We do know that there is a shortage of houses, apartments.
The rent's too damn high.
Price is high for many. Interest rates are coming down significantly. That will help. But Congressman Williams, you get to tackle this question first. What would you be able to do in Congress to help the housing crunch right here in central New York?
Sure. Well, I'm just going to start by what I've already done, which is be a champion for the redevelopment of the East Adams neighborhood in the 15th Ward in Syracuse. And that has had 2 components. First is championing almost $10 million of grants for the East Adams project and the Children's Rise Center and the things that really matter to the residents in the 15th Ward of Syracuse. In addition, I was part of the team that led to a $50 million grant from HUD specifically for that neighborhood. And I would credit Chuck Schumer primarily.
Old Chucky boy.
But it took all of us to bring that.
Chucky for the win.
And those are things that are directly affected here. This is a problem we have because of the growth that we're experiencing, and I'm glad we're experiencing that growth. But the truth is, there's just way too much government regulation that is stopping investment and development. The permitting takes too long, and the costs are simply too high.
Senator, same question.
Our housing problem did not occur overnight, and it was because of a lack of investment. So we need to come at this from a variety of different directions. And
lack of investment?
In the state legislature, we've done just that. Number one, we need more public housing. We need the federal government to come in and build more housing. The state is committed to building 15,000 new units on state land. Additionally, I secured tens of millions of dollars in infill housing, meaning construction on vacant properties. There's dollars, tens of millions for only upstate New York as far as renovation goes and getting
He's really well put together.
Dust and pipes out of our homes. We need a pathway to home ownership, which is the pathway to generational wealth with low-cost loans. Additional dwelling units should be allowed, and we passed laws in this state to allow for that. We do a great job here in central New York of converting commercial properties to residential properties. So we need to come at it from a wide range of things. There must be affordable housing in every one of those instances or situations that I mentioned.
The housing problem is being exacerbated by the number of workers expected to move to town because of Micron. Senator Mannion, let's start with you on this question.
Micron.
Ensure, as a member of Congress, that Micron keeps its promise of 50,000 jobs.
Right. Well, what we need to do is continue to have those conversations with Micron, and that's what I absolutely have. They are investing in our community already. They're investing.
I wouldn't trust them.
They're investing in the Museum of Science and Technology. They're investing in a community engagement board, which is making sure that there's going to be opportunity for everyone to obtain these jobs, particularly our most disenfranchised communities. So they are an integral part of things that are already happening, and they're committed to childcare as well. They understand that we're going to be growing. Micron chose this area for a reason. They chose it because we have a tremendous workforce here. We have lots of clean energy. We have lots of clean, accessible water. But also what was required when the CHIPS and Science legislation was going through, which my opponent wrote a letter to the editor, went out of his way to reject it and say that it was corporate welfare. He doesn't remember losing the jobs of the 70s, 80s, and 90s because he was in Texas. That's why I worked diligently to make sure we passed green chips legislation, so we got a piece of the pie. And with that, we have the largest private investment in the history of this country
thank you,
coming to
Senator
Clay, New
Mannion.
York.
Thank you. Just trying to keep everyone at a minute. Congressman Williams, you have a moment to, you have a chance to answer this question too. Looking forward, if you continue in Congress, how will you ensure Micron keeps its promise?
Sure. Since getting elected, I've done everything in my power.
The Micron problem.
To help accelerate the development of the Micron project. Meeting with executives, I've been out to their corporate headquarters. I have had numerous and many.
What the fuck even is Micron?
Army Corps of Engineers to press them and push them to get the permitting in place so that we can continue. The only thing that's holding it up right now actually is environmental reviews and the stringent requirements. I have worked with across the aisle and
even on those damn hippies.
On 2 different occasions to try to get this pushed through on spending bills that were mandatory, and we've done that without success. We will keep trying to do that. Of course, I come out of the tech industry. I spent about 15 years in the high-tech industry.
Micron makes microchips.
I know their
how original.
I know their markets, and I know how important that is, and have been a relentless champion of manufacturing of all kinds, because our economy isn't just Micron, it's also the companies that are here. And
like mine's like AMD or some shit like that.
All right. Thank you, Congressman Williams. It's about past the midway point of our debate. We'll take a break, let everyone catch their breath, and have more questions for the candidates when our debate for NY22 continues.
Hopefully there is no commercial break for us.
From your local election headquarters, the debate in the race for Congress in New York's 22nd District continues.
Sponsored by AARP.
Welcome back. Jeff Kulikowski, Andrew Donovan, the candidate, State Senator John Mannion, Congressman Brandon Williams here. Let's continue our debate. Andrew?
Yes, we'll start with Congressman Williams. He gets the first go at this question. Part of the anxiety
by B to B, do you mean butt to butt?
Is the day after. Will you certify the results if former President Donald Trump denies their legitimacy as he did 4 years ago?
Of course I will. I've never challenged or questioned the results of the 2020 election.
I know that clinically.
Joe Biden is the duly elected president. I am concerned about election integrity, and there's a lot of things, particularly as has come up repeatedly, the concern that illegal immigrants are voting in our elections. Certainly should be reserved for citizens, as our Constitution actually calls.
Well, that's something I need to know with my clients. Are they
issues with that?
Consumer facing?
ID laws.
I am done. You're right. But that is something that I need to know.
That's really at the heart of our democratic system.
When I make marketing videos for people.
What would your strategy be if you win, but you see Trump question the results as he did 4 years ago?
Beat to beat us.
Close elections. In my 3 previous elections, none of
you are correct. You are correct that I am dumb sometimes.
My volunteers got
a lot of time
the elections process working, which is triple checked, it's professional, it's verified, and everybody should see that process. My opponent has endorsed the former president, and the former president has endorsed him. You just heard from him. He is sowing doubt in our election.
Everybody's dumb sometimes.
He says he has concerns about the integrity of our elections. He is elected. He is elected. He's gone through the process. He's seen it work. But what we've seen in presidential elections, when Donald Trump is on the ballot, before Election Day, on Election Day, and after Election Day, sowing doubt in the pillar of our democracy, which is the peaceful transfer of power and the integrity of our elections. He is going to continue to sow doubt and put this country in a more dangerous place, even
this dude Paul Ryan.
January 6th of 2021.
Senator, thank you. I want to keep getting to as many issues as we can. Whoever has...
You don't look anything like Paul Ryan. This dude keeps mean mugging me.
Narrow majority, meaning you're going to have to work across the aisle to get anything done. So, Senator Mannion, we'll start with you. How can you best illustrate that you would be able to work with the other party?
I point to my record, and my record shows that as a state representative, represent 33 municipalities, 29 of them are represented by Republicans.
I like his orange tie.
Registered Republicans in my district than Democrats. There are 42 Democratic senators. I'm the only one that has that distinction. I've lived here my entire life. I grew up here. I understand how we work. I understand that the people of Central New York and the Mohawk Valley want their elected officials.
His wife probably picked it out.
In a bipartisan way, and that's exactly what I've done. If you look at how I was attacked on the primary, during the primary process, my primary opponent pointed repeatedly
or he could be gay
with my party and voting against.
Well, my gay door is going off a little bit here
because it didn't work for Central New York, and if it doesn't,
he could have a husband. His husband might have picked it out.
I cannot support it. So I do not just carry the flag of the party. I do what's right for the people here. I will continue to. I have a record of it, and I will do that in Congress.
Congressman, same question for you. How can you best illustrate how you would work with the other party, especially if they're in the majority?
Well, I would remind my opponent that I, too, am elected in a district where there are far more of the...
What is with the Republicans and weird haircuts?
In fact, there's more Democrats, there are more registered independents than there are registered Republicans. And here I am in an elected office. So he should know that because he voted twice to gerrymander this district, one time in such an egregious way that it was overthrown by the New York State courts.
Yeah, that did happen.
In a way to specifically benefit his re-election and his standing in this. That seems very disingenuous.
Republicans are not the only ones who do the gerrymandering, and New York is a fantastic example of that.
Things. Two in particular where I have literally gone across the House floor to sign a discharge petition, and one of the few in my party, to champion funding for Ukraine as a standalone bill, and also the Social Security Fairness Act. Both of those were going against my party. And lastly, I am the Republican champion for the Affordable Connectivity Program, which brings affordable internet to about 1 in 4 households in our district. Again,
all right, Congressman,
across the aisle.
Thank you. Congressman, we'll continue with you.
Shut him up.
First go at this question. Both of you have relatively young political careers. Senator Mannion, 4 years in state government. Congressman Williams.
Yes, this is one of the seats that Democrats usually hold, and they got shellacked in 2022 in New York.
Well, I think the most proud thing...
He won in 2022.
This very contentious year where our government is divided has been to keep the government funded and open. You might have noticed, again, another opportunity to work across the aisle to make that a priority. And at every opportunity that we've had that required to stand up and do the right thing for continuing resolutions, to keep Social Security funded and paid for, to keep our military funded and paid for, to keep our Border Patrol agents funded and paid for. I have stood up to do that every single time. So I would have to point to that because I think in a divided government like we've had in such a contentious time, that actually takes leadership, and I'm proud to have provided that leadership in my own party.
Senator, a piece of legislation you're most proud of in your years in the state Senate.
The congressman is a part of the most dysfunctional Congress in over a century, and they cannot pass legislation. They remove speakers, which is unprecedented. And what he neglects to tell you is that he did vote against Ukraine funding. I'm proud of my record. Number one, I not only was the co-prime sponsor on green chips legislation, it came to us with less than 3 weeks left of the legislative session. And I worked diligently with Senate counsel, with my leadership, with the governor's office, with the assembly, with Center State CEO and representatives at the county to make sure we got that done. Because when we broke from legislative session in June, Micron was not going to wait 6 months for the next opportunity for us to pass that legislation. I did it. I did it in a bipartisan manner. It was almost passed unanimously, with the exception of 2 negative Democratic votes. Additionally, the Flood Mitigation Task Force, which is to make sure we can handle emerging storms and flooding that helps, is targeted towards the Oswego River Basin and the Mohawk River Basin exclusively.
Thank you,
also
Senator.
passed unanimously.
We have talked, gentlemen, a good deal about issues that affect voters here right in central New York, domestic issues. But as federal representatives in Congress, you're going to have to deal with foreign relations. So February will be 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. Senator Mannion, we'll start with you. What level of support, be it money, weapons, anything else, would you be in favor of for Ukraine?
So I grew up in a neighborhood that's branded as an Irish neighborhood, but anyone that knows Tipperary Hill knows that there is a significant Ukrainian population as well as a Polish and Russian population along with the Irish in a very diverse area. I actually attended kindergarten at St. John's, the Ukrainian school, and I strongly stand with Ukraine. Our support for them must be unwavering. They are holding the line on democracy for Eastern Europe and therefore Western Europe. Vladimir Putin cannot be trusted. He will not stop at Ukraine. So Ukraine is our ally. We must continue to support them with funding, support them with resources, whatever they need. Because although some members of his party may question our support for Ukraine and point to other issues that we should be addressing, we're going to have to do both. Because Vladimir Putin is not stopping at Ukraine. He's not. He's moving towards it. And I commend the brave men and women of Ukraine and the Ukrainian Americans that support them who have held the line on Russian aggression.
Congressman, your chance to weigh in on this. What level of support would you be in favor of for Ukraine?
Well, of course, I'm the only military veteran in this race. I began my career by deterring Russia as a strategic missile officer on a Trident nuclear submarine. So I know firsthand what it means to deter our enemies. One of the shameful things that's happened in the last 3.5 years is that the weak leadership in the White House has led to boldness by our aggressors and by our enemies. And we've seen this both in Israel and we have seen this with Iran. We've seen this in Russia and Ukraine. And it is terrible. I actually have championed and supported support for Ukraine, but I'm also concerned about supporting Americans at home. And I think there is time for a peace agreement should be explored, particularly now that Putin is enlisting North Korean soldiers, maybe as many as 200,000, expanding the war significantly. This very easily could bring NATO into a war in Central Europe with the nuclear power of Russia, and that must be countered and avoided.
There's another war in the world. Despite the brutal attacks of October 7th, America's support of Israel has led to tensions here at home. How do you balance support of your Jewish American constituents with Israel's response? This question goes to the congressman first.
Well, I've been an outspoken supporter of Israel even before the events of October 7th. But particularly since October 7th, I want to point out a very important distinction between me and my opponent. On October 7th, I was messaging publicly of support for Israel and outrage, absolute outrage against the brutal actions of Hamas. It took my opponent 2 weeks of silence on that topic, which I find absolutely despicable and certainly not the kind of leadership that we need. I am proud to stand up for Israel, to have voted for support for Israel. I have been there. I have visited the areas that were affected. It is absolutely essential that we stand with Israel. I actually have experience in the region. I worked in Jordan. I also have many Arab friends. It is absolutely critical that America stand up as a solid partner to Israel. And that is not what's happened under the Biden administration.
Senator, you made some faces at your opponent's answer. Will you respond and answer the question with a little extra time?
My opponent has no shame. I came out with a very strong statement.
Have you no shame?
And for him to put the lives of men and women of the state of Israel that were lost, women that were raped, women that were desecrated on that day, and try to paint me as someone who is not supportive of Israel is outrageous and it's disgusting. It's another example of my opponent trying to grandstand on an issue that is serious. I have always supported a two-state solution. Israel is our ally. We must continue to stand with them. They are the only democracy in the Middle East. We have to work towards a two-state solution and sustain peace. But to distort my record is absolutely atrocious. I would not do that to you or any other elected official, particularly in reference to a day that was horrific, not just for the Jewish people, but for the entire world.
John, you were silent. You were absolutely silent, and it was shameful.
Everyone can check my Facebook page and see that a statement came out on October 7th.
We did, and it is absolutely shameful. and stood up. I have stood up with the students at Syracuse University during those anti-Semitic student protests. I was there in person. I have sat down with the
you piece of shit
in our district and said to them face to face, if you allow anti-Semitism to continue on your campus, you are my enemy, and I will wage war on you. Because we have to act like it's 1933, and we've got to stand up right now because by 1939, it's too late. And
that's where we're at. Check my Facebook.
Which way the wind blows, and to issue these stealthy statements that get no traction and that are not seen by the public is absolutely shameful. And the Jewish community knows it, John. They know where you stand. They know who backs you.
Damn it, John.
The Working Family Parties is strongly pro-Hamas. It is absolutely shameful for you to stand up and take that stand. Everybody knows.
Boy, you are showing your true colors.
This is the truth.
You are showing your true colors. I put out a statement on that immediately rejecting the horror that had occurred and have stood with Israel. I have not grandstanded. I have had communications with Syracuse University, Upstate Medical Center. I've secured funding for synagogues and Jewish institutions, community centers, to make sure that they can protect themselves. And I have denounced any actions of anti-Semitism. The congressman is trying to create an issue that is a non-issue. And this is not the first time that he's done it. I stand with the Jewish people. I will continue to. They are our ally. They have been through an awful atrocity. It is shameful and shameful of you to say this. You are clearly not from Central New York because you do not understand how we operate here. We stand for the truth and we stand with each other.
You won't get away with talking out of both sides of your mouth any longer. The people of Central New York are sick and tired of it. They're tired of the politics as usual. You're not going to get away with it.
All right, we'll move on to another topic. You both said that college should be more affordable for people who become students, but student loan forgiveness has been very politically divisive. So how do you support a generation of adults who will be in serious college debt? Isn't that almost as crippling as a too high cost of living? Senator Mannion, we'll start with you.
So as a state representative, we've done things to make sure that everyone can obtain their passion, obtain their career without ever leaving the state. So we have supported the state university system by making sure that tuition is frozen. We've increased the Excelsior scholarship. We have increased the number of people who can access TAP and the level of that TAP. You can do whatever you want, become anything you want without ever leaving the state. I am a product of 2 degrees of the SUNY system. But beyond our public institutions, we can do more. I've supported apprenticeship programs. We've supported Bundy Aid for our private institutions. And when it comes to loan forgiveness, we want our young people to stay here. So if we tie a loan forgiveness program to staying in the state, working within the state, working in some of our disenfranchised locations, rural or urban settings, I think there should be loan forgiveness tied to that residency.
Congressman Williams, your chance to answer this question about supporting a generation of adults in crippling student debt.
Well, of course, loan forgiveness handed out by the Biden administration isn't forgiveness. It is transfer. They are transferring these loans onto the backs of American workers and working families and taxpayers. And there's no such thing as forgiveness. It doesn't go anywhere except onto the back of the public. One of the key things that I've done is democratizing the Pell program. The Pell program was disproportionately helping wealthier schools and providing money with schools that had these enormous.
It's so weird that they only talk about money going to poor people like that.
We've passed legislation.
Corporate handouts or PPP loans or anything like that shit.
Pell grants to go towards community college, to 2-year school programs, to trade schools, and to certificates that get people out into the workforce, the jobs that we need right here in Central New York. And I'm very proud of that because it benefits all of Americans, not just a handful. And there's no reason to put these costs on the back of working families.
All right, before closing statements, we'll do some rapid fire one-word answers. Jeff?
Let's start with this. Senator Mannion, how would you grade President Biden as he leaves public office?
B+.
Congressman?
I would say that it's been a D. He's hardly been present.
Congressman Williams, should the Trump-era tax cuts be extended?
Yes, they should.
Senator Mannion.
We need to provide additional relief for lower and middle income people as they are about to expire.
Senator, who do you think is the biggest foreign threat against the United States?
China.
Congressman?
I know firsthand it's China. I was in Tiananmen Square during the protests of May of 1989.
All right, we now have time to give a closing statement from each.
Was that a shot at Walls, or was that?
Go, Congressman Williams. You'll give your closing statement.
Was he really in Tiananmen Square?
No, I believe it's you that goes first.
Okay, that's not what is agreed to, and that's not what was said.
Winning coin toss went to Mannion, so that means he chose to go second in the closing statement. So, correct. Congressman Williams, go first, please.
He chose to go second in the opening question, I believe.
No.
Did I get that wrong?
He won the coin toss.
I'm sorry.
He won the coin toss.
Yeah.
Got to choose. He picked to go second in the closer.
All right. Thank you.
That gave you the right to pick how you wanted to go with the first question. So
there we go. Well, listen, 2 years ago, I upended politics as usual and came into a system that really has been broken for a very long time with no political experience. I did it by being direct and plain spoken. And that is a disruption to the people that want to try to talk out of both sides of their mouth and to confuse you. I have the technical, military, and business experience to expose the lies and the false promises that keep coming out of places like Albany. I have stood up against Republicans to bring affordable internet to our district, as well as to support Social Security and Medicare by crossing the aisle. I have stood up to Democrats that have reckless cashless bail policies and an open southern border. My opponent is part of that system that lies to your face and covers it up and serves themselves behind closed doors. And that is why I ran for Congress. I'm asking for your support for 2 more years so that I can fight for you in Washington, D.C.
All right, Senator Mannion, your final statement, please.
Thank you to you, Andrew and Jeff, for hosting this very important debate, and for Channel 9 for always being with us.
This dude needs to win.
A nonpartisan.
Or for the Democrats to take back control of Congress.
Of my youth, of the individuals like Carrie Lazarus and Nancy Duffy, Rod Wood. This is Central New York and the Mohawk Valley. This is my hometown.
Ron Wood?
We operate a certain way. We care about each other. We expect our elected officials.
Ron Wood's from like the Rolling Stones, isn't he?
And be truthful. To work with others so that those in our community that need additional support, their leaders are there for them. Working with everyone, not tearing each other down, not passing lies.
Does Rod have wood?
Certainly not spending millions of dollars to try to distort the character of not just a person, but his family that have lived here forever. I reject that kind of politics. I ask you to join me in rejecting the toxicity and the negativity. And
try not to drink my chocolate milk all at once.
Central New York and Mohawk Valley.
Always hard.
Thank you to both candidates for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I'm Jeff.
Thank you.
With Andrew Donovan. Thanks for tuning in.
He's still staring at me. All right, guys, I got news, but I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to do news. I can't do it. I can't do it. I've already been on for 3 hours and 15 minutes. Streamed a lot this week already, and we have so much more ready to go. So how about we do a police chase?
Above a chase right now. Jim Gardner and Bob Mills, Sky News 9 overhead.
Yeah, we have Jim
in Oklahoma.
This is a police chase. Jim, tell us where you're at. And
happened 4 days ago.
Car that authorities are after.
You're welcome, Ponder Monkey. I enjoy the debate.
That's right, Carl. We are northbound on I-35. Now this chase started.
Another big night tomorrow. We're coming on at 7.
It got on Kilpatrick, exceeded speeds of 100 miles an hour. He got off and went southbound on I-35 here, and now he's back northbound on I-35. And as we pull back,
where's Drake at? Drake is never here when I play police chases that aren't in California.
Pulling back, and we'll show you the cross streets as we cross here. So he is going northbound I-35. You see Hefner right there. He has just crossed Hefner. He is now still northbound on I-35. I don't know if we have engineer up or not, but we can actually zoom in on that car. We can actually show you the speed of that car by putting up a street scope speedometer that comes up right above that car. And
I was ready to check out. I made my chocolate milk. I packed a bowl.
in this helicopter right now, my cameraman can turn
Let's
on
do police
scene
chase.
control, and basically it will sample that car, and the camera will follow that car anywhere it goes. So right now we are still northbound on I-35. This chase, I believe it's a BMW.
There's some crazy news going on, so I'm sorry for not newsing you up.
The police, Oklahoma City, was in the first in pursuit of this when it got on Kilpatrick and that. Then OHP also got involved with this, but you can see that's Oklahoma City.
I apologize, but some nights you just got police
Still
chase.
going northbound on I-35. We're approaching the Kilpatrick here pretty quick. I don't know if we still got street scope up. We can drop it out if we need to, but we're still northbound on I-35. What I've been told is that this is due to a stolen plate. Police tried to stop this car. It had a stolen plate on it, and that's when the pursuit began. I don't know
stolen plate
are in that car, if it's the driver or a driver and a passenger or other passengers in that car. But like I said, this has exceeded well over 100 miles an hour here. Oh, okay, now
we don't know that the car is stolen.
He's going to go northbound. He's going to go northbound on the Kilpatrick Turnpike here. So we're rolling around here. We should have Air 1 coming.
Well, I guess that could be just the way the news is saying.
You see the long line of police cars.
I'm over here thinking like
there.
Motherfuckers got some kind of like plate scheme going on to hide the identity of a car or some shit.
Carl, and I don't know if you have any more information with this. Like I said, this pursuit started around 122nd in May.
He stole a license plate before he's going to go do a bank robbery or something.
And I-35.
Shit like that.
Going.
No, it probably means stolen car.
So if you have any more information, Carl, go ahead and step in, and I'll let you have it.
Well, we do know that this has been going on for a little while now, the last 10 to 15 minutes at least. It started out as a chase involving village police were on this originally as well, with OHP and Oklahoma City police. And Jim, we appreciate Street Scope right there, giving us the speed of the vehicle.
I kind of
don't
appreciate the streets
there. But officers in pursuit there, you have OHP, and I guess
you shouldn't have those up all the time. They're ruining my enjoyment.
It won't be long now.
They're nice for like pop up, let people know where you're at.
This guy's surrounded. Not that they don't right now. They obviously have OHP right behind that BMW. The call coming in as a stolen plate. A stolen plate is what officers tried to pull that car over for.
Oh, that was some kind of Mustang. It's a BMW.
Began seeing this pursuit in Edmond. We're asking those questions. We know multiple people are involved. We have OHP, OCPD, village police are also involved.
OCD.
Right now, he's going about 92 miles per hour. This is very dangerous.
Right. You like BMWs clinically?
Police chase involving multiple people. Jim, do you know any more information when this started, how this started?
Yeah, Ponder Monkey. That's the problem with the street.
That's pretty much what Carl and you have said is what I have heard. We are now still westbound.
Yeah, I do think it's got soft top on it.
Here, as we come back, and we can pull back a little bit. We can show you the streets as we cross there. So we're still westbound on the Kilpatrick. Like I said, I believe you said there was about 92 miles an hour registered on that car. There you can see we're coming.
Or if they could turn down the frequency or something, they pop up.
Extension as we cross here, Broadway Extension we're going to come up to. But again, this person shows no remorse about persons or property on the ground. This has exceeded well over 100 miles an hour on some small roads. But we're on the interstates, which is good because there's definitely more room and less cars right now. Now, if he's going southbound on I-35 or if you get to Hefner Parkway and you go southbound, either way, it's going to get really congested here. But the Kilpatrick right now is moving pretty decent, has medium traffic level.
You own 4. Goddamn.
Kelly Avenue, still going westbound on the Kilpatrick here at pretty decent speed. We got Air 1 now involved in this. He is down low behind me, following this pursuit too. So
I'm not sure if we're on the John Kilpatrick Turnpike.
So this person, it's just either he's going to have to give up, or else the car is going to run out of gas.
There's no indication at all that we're on the John Kilpatrick Turnpike going west.
How much fuel's on board that car? I don't know. This could last for a short time, or this could keep going for quite a while. Because this person.
If only there was some indication on the screen to let us know
giving up
that we're on the John Gilpatrick Turnpike.
Basically opening that car up pretty good.
And Jim, I know you know that
the westbound lane
enforcement have when they're in a pursuit like this, and sometimes if it gets too dangerous, they have to back off. That's not the case here. At the same time, and look what's happening now. You can see OHP just jumping right behind the car.
I've never been a fan of the BMWs.
Leeway there.
I'm talking about like the cars I own in
could perform
Gran Turismo and shit. Like fucking, like I drive a Mercedes.
Maneuver, a tactical maneuver, where they will contact the vehicle and
I got a Mercedes, a Porsche, and a Ferrari that are my go-tos. We're trying to do a pit maneuver now.
They will, but not all law enforcement out there involved with a pursuit will go ahead and try to do a TVI.
Well, that's right. There's only certain ones that can do that maneuver, like you said, Carl. He pulled up on him there. I think he pulled up on him to show him that no matter what he did, he could stay with him. He could stay with him as fast as he wanted to go. So he couldn't do the maneuver because you can see all the other cars.
I need to play Forza.
Kilpatrick, like I said, we're still going westbound on the Kilpatrick. We're going to
need to get it on my
way here in just a little bit.
On my computer.
And Portland Avenue here. We'll see which way he goes. He could just stay on the Kilpatrick, which would be, as far as traffic goes.
I got a Nissan I use a lot on Gran Turismo as well.
TVI maneuver until they, for sure, don't have any traffic in front of them, and they make sure it's clear that car, if they do spin and it rolls, it's not going to hit anybody. But again, we've got up to a pretty high rate of speed here, as he was going westbound on the Kilpatrick. He's still on westbound on the Kilpatrick, and right now I'm coming up.
But you also like Asians, right?
Exit here. That's Memorial Road he is on now. That should be the Chili's right there. He's coming up.
Chili's.
Stoplight.
Baby back ribs.
He's going to take the grass.
You're going to take the grass, yes.
That's what it is. That's May Avenue right there.
Yes.
So he's going to squeeze by that car, so he is going to come northbound.
God, thank God they ditched
it appears.
The street view thing.
Get a little better angle. Like I said, Air 1 is down there with him.
And when we first heard about this, it was actually northbound on May where we first heard about this pursuit. And again, we know that...
Oh, no, don't do it again.
Going eastbound on 140th.
Going by the Panera Bread.
At this time, that's going to run him into the Quail Springs Mall here.
Okay.
That's going to take him into the Quail Springs Mall. So
we're going to the mall.
This could get kind of dangerous here, Carl.
Into the parking
this is the most action the mall's seen in a while.
Time we're talking about rush hour traffic on Friday in a parking.
But it's a mall.
Jim, go ahead.
Ain't nobody in the goddamn mall.
The car, I believe.
Oh shit.
Okay, he's probably going to try to jump out. He's probably going to try to jump out and go in the mall.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Why?
He's going inside the mall. That is Quail Springs Mall.
It doesn't seem like a smart idea.
Deputies right there, right behind him, and we'll keep it here. You see all the law enforcement now showing up.
There aren't people in the mall. Look how dead it is. There are no fucking cars.
A little bit.
That's going to be on the J.C. Penney side of the Quail Springs Mall. On the west side is the west door that he entered into the mall here. He probably figures that he can get lost in the crowd in there, but that one officer was pretty close behind him there, so he's
in what crowd?
And we get more officers showing up here.
I mean, there's more cars than I thought there was, but still, it's not like what a mall was like
running
20 or 30 years ago.
You saw that lady.
That place would be absolutely packed.
Officers. We know OHP's involved. We know OCPD's involved. Village police are involved. Air 1 is up. You can see all those police officers running.
If it had a movie theater, yeah, even just 10 years ago.
Pursuit started because of a stolen tag. Do you mind if we zoom out, widen up, just to see how many
widen
police
out a little bit.
I need a Cinnabon before I go to jail.
Sure, we don't want to make sure he comes out another door somewhere.
Jim, we appreciate...
you guys got those like amusement park malls and shit, though, don't you?
Quail Springs Mall there. Seeing if someone tries to...
You got like rides and shit.
I think they jump back into that car.
Attractions.
The scene right here. But this is a chase that's been going on.
It is surprisingly busy, Curiouser.
Longer than that.
I will give you that when we went through there the other day.
May and Wilshire area. And so now it's OHP's there. Oklahoma City Police are also there. And this is the Quail Springs Mall. As police are moving in on this suspect. They might have that person in custody, but we saw them hop from that red BMW, BMW convertible. The reason they tried to pull that car over was for a stolen license plate.
That's right, Carl. I believe they probably have him in custody because if they didn't, I believe we'd have officers coming to all the doors here, and I haven't seen any police officers moving to different doors and trying to block them off here. So I have a feeling they may have him in custody in there. Like I said, that one officer was pretty close behind him there as he went through the door. So I'm sure they. Probably, the Quail Springs Mall has mall police, so hopefully they were talking to them.
They got rent-a-cops.
They were probably waiting for him, also when he went through that door there. So, again, we'll just stay with this. We'll see what happens, but I haven't seen any police move over to the other doors here yet. So, hopefully they have that person in custody and this will be over.
Yeah, and
that's
Jim,
going to be. Go ahead, Carl.
No, I was just saying we're hearing that they are setting up. Police are setting up.
Is that a hotel? That's a really nice pool.
So
okay,
I don't know if you're seeing that or not. Sounds
okay,
like
let's zoom in, Tim. Let's zoom in to the left side, just left, right there.
You made it to the Spencer's, you can buy a costume.
At 5 o'clock, by the way.
Okay. We do have a police officer setting up that door. Okay, so pull back. Let's go to the other doors. We'll see if they got another. That door's not blocked.
A Dillard's. They got Dillard's. They got JCPenney. Aren't they rocking?
Right, and on the right side of the building.
Those are two
Mall. You know how many
solid anchor stores for your mall. What we got over here?
in this
Okay,
mall
we
We got the movie theater.
could just run into. So really, police are looking for one man they believe is because he stole a license plate. We saw speeds.
Those are pretty solid anchors.
Speeds up to 113 miles per hour.
Isn't it like it's like a Belk or a JCPenney? It's just
Following a chase that's now a foot pursuit inside the.
I don't know shit about shopping, so I don't know if it's got like a distinct thing about it.
Police officers follow right behind him.
It's just a what do they call those?
News 9. It's Quail Springs Mall right
box
there.
store.
This is a pursuit that was going on for about at least 20.
Oh, do you guys not have a Belk out that way?
Jerry, we understand that Village Police were originally on this, along with Oklahoma City Police and OHP.
You miss Radio Shack. I miss the vibe of Radio Shack
as well. And officers there at Quail Springs Mall are just making sure they have all the exits blocked.
My Radio Shack wasn't in a mall though.
Able to escape.
And it was quite large.
Hop from that red BMW convertible and run to one of the doors of the mall, but officers were quick to get out of their vehicles and follow that person, so they probably had about a 25-foot head start. That's about it. I mean, police were on this guy quick.
Did I say anchor stores? What did I say?
He's now in cuffs, or if they are searching the Quail Springs Mall, but we do understand that police have set up a perimeter around the mall, and that's where we stand right now.
And we are at Quail Springs Mall, where a pursuit.
Box stores is like a
the JCPenney's door, running in, police.
That's like the type of retail it is, like a retail box store.
On the ground right now to ask more questions to see if people are.
The anchor part is like it being
exactly what is happening, but again, we're at Quail Springs.
They're what all the other businesses are built around.
Suspect they believe had stolen license plates
in the mall.
Again,
this big ass fucking store that brings people in.
Cars right there.
And then they go and they shop at the little stores all along the way.
Someone's coming outside.
Yeah, they are coming out. Jim, what are you seeing there?
Well, that's some shoppers there. They just casually walked out the door, so I don't know. If they got him in custody, they're still looking here. That was a good point you guys made that the theaters are right in the.
All right, I'm done with this because I've got the resolution. I got the new information as of today. This is or maybe it was yesterday. We got the new details.
We have new details about that wild police chase ending at Quail Springs Mall last Friday. Remember, the driver of the car, Melvin Platt, was arrested after jumping out of the car and running into the JCPenney's. Now, this started when police caught up to him on the bridge over the Kilpatrick Turnpike after spotting him changing his shirt on the side of a BJ's restaurant. Police report
he tried.
Started chasing Platt after a flock camera spotted a stolen license plate on his car. They chased him for several miles while he reportedly slow-rolled stop signs and stop lights. He was arrested for receiving stolen property.
There you have it. That was the resolution. I ain't done yet. Let's do another one. I got another one somewhere. We're going to Minnesota. Let's go to Minnesota. I had a different one saved, but let's do this. Police released this. Dakota and Washington County, Minnesota. Happened on October 15th.
Take off. Are we 1421 S6 ready? 1313.
All right, we're passing the Rivertown Dog Park. Do you want me to light them up when we turn the corner here, or wait for one of you guys? Light them up. We're all right around you.
Hastings, Minnesota.
You can light them up. We're right up here.
Are we attempting to stop? 1314.
Ready. Taking off.
Copy, taking off. Sticks at 10th and Ramsey. 10th and Ramsey.
This is some kind of security camera or some shit.
Speed back down. I'm going to pit them.
Copy. In the lead. We'll pit when the speeds drop. 1315.
Coming up to 4th Street.
Approaching 4th. 1315.
11 S81. We're crossing the bridge. Can we get Washco and Cottage Grove? See if they have sticks.
Copy. Crossing the bridge. Notifying Washco and Cottage Grove.
Cottage Grove at 811. We'll try to have sticks.
Well, that's a cute little area, isn't it?
That's 81 light traffic.
Neat little bridge.
Speeds are 80.
Speeds 80, light traffic.
S81, I can call it for you. Light traffic, speeds 85.
Light traffic, speeds 85, 16.
11 S81, we're coming up to...
This is as good as it gets. Their cameras are shitty. They're using like traffic cameras.
Cottage Grove, can you advise? Copy. Sticks just north of Manning at 1317.
I'm surprised we don't have like dashboard cam.
Through Manning. Left lane. Left lane. We're coming up on sticks. I think it hit the front tire. It looks like that front tire is going down.
Uh-oh, already?
Copy.
No!
Still northbound. Speed 75.
Northbound.
We got a lot of popo on them. Look at fucking 1, 2, 3, 4.
Deflating.
At least 5.
6 at Innovation Road.
6.
Innovation Road.
Here at Kimbrough, tires.
7, 8.
Cottage Grove can call it if you guys want. 8122, I got it. Just past Kimbrough, still northbound, coming up to Inno.
Northbound coming up to Inno. Sticks at Inno.
Oh, what's this car doing?
81, I'll have sticks. 61 under 80th.
Out of tire, I can possibly fit it here. K9 is 1. We will deploy if you bail. You want Cottage Grove to pit? I'm right here with it.
Cottage Grove, wait. Let's get another stick in here. I'm in the right lane in front of you guys. We'll divert it to the sticks right at Innovation.
All right, we're down at a rim, coming up to Inno. After that...
this dude ain't involved, right? Like, this is the car we're chasing.
Front driver's side tire.
Okay, he's getting off the exit now. I was wondering what the fuck was going on.
Force left lane here.
Northbound 61.
Thought they would have pulled over forever ago.
Both driver's side tires are...
How many fucking cops do they need? They got so many on them.
1321.
8129, I'm second pursuit. I'll take over calling. Northbound 61. Speeds are 80 miles an hour. We're splitting lanes. Light traffic.
Speeds 80, light traffic, left lane.
Washco to Dakota, do you want us to take over the pursuit on LTAC 1?
Over-policed and I mean, look how many they've got out there. You do not need that many police in pursuit.
Light traffic at 1322. Just go to Wasco. I can keep it for a bit.
You know, 4, okay.
Okay, I'll keep an ear on it. 1322.
5, you're getting to overkill, seriously.
don't have a dog on, so if you could stay on it for canine, we'd appreciate it.
We're up to like a dozen now.
Six, watch out. Under 80th, mid-sticks, speed 8.
And that's just the one with lights on, you know, like clinically's right, that one could have been undercover.
Driver reaching around.
It's a chase parade.
Try boxing it in.
Look at the fall foliage.
Negative, these tires
in Minnesota.
I'm going.
Observe nature's beauty as we watch this chase.
70th.
Speeds at 90, light traffic coming at 70th.
You guys are both monitoring the pursuit, right?
DJ Dub, you here? You enjoying the fall foliage in Minnesota? Oh shit!
Tech one with us.
Electrical and L-Tech 1 as well.
We're on the same wavelength.
Light traffic, blue, middle lane.
It looks like Minnesota because it is indeed Minnesota.
Driver's side, front tire is on rim.
Oh.
If it goes any faster than 90-ish. Middle lane, speed's 80, coming up to Glen. Moderate traffic.
Speeds 80 coming up to Glen. Modern traffic. 1324.
You can see the tampons in the bathrooms.
Coming under Glen, middle lane. Little to no traffic, speed's 80.
Under Glen, middle lane. Moderate to no traffic. 80.
This is Smokey not exactly looking happy.
Middle lane, coming up with 494 split. Speed 80, light traffic.
Approaching 494 split, 1325.
I can't believe they've been able to go on the rim for as long as they have.
Continuing northbound.
They got a cop in front of them.
Grove 811, do we have an ETA on flight? State 256, I'm right in front of it.
I miss Smokey. Oh my god, I miss them all.
Take right. State's got front, I got back.
Walking through the house, not having them anywhere near me. Oh god, what are we doing?
Speed's dropping.
Trying to box them in.
Under Bailey, speed's 80, still trying to box in.
And not succeeding.
Ground units, we're taxiing to lunch now, so we should be 5 to 10 minutes.
Flight 5 to 10, 1326.
Without a tire. Masterful maneuvering.
He's slow enough. Speed is still 50. Coming right lane, still trying to box in.
Get it. Wow. They were able to get around him.
Unsuccessful pit.
Unsuccessful pit. Oh, they got nowhere to go now.
Good pit.
But the cops fucked up unless they've got them.
Successful pit, felony stop, 1328.
Look at all them cops. They had nothing else to do in that. Like every cop in the department is there. We need backup. Oh, they got it too, don't they? There's more.
80 agencies monitoring on LTAC 1 way to Cottage Grove, 816 unit. So, advising passenger and driver in custody on our main.
Passenger and driver.
Copies passenger and driver in custody at 1330.
Let's go same time.
Dakota County to units on LTAC 1. Confirming we have 2 in custody. Are we code 4 and clearing the channel?
Washington, Dakota, we had a deputy go code 4 on scene on our main. Not sure if that's enough.
Copy. We'll call it code 4. Any units on LTAC 1, code 4, 2 in custody, clearing LTAC 1 at 1333. 501 negative, I'll be clearing LTAC 1. 501 clearing LTAC 1, 1334.
I'm trying to get the rest of the story on this. Get you the update on what went on. This was in Dakota County, Hastings, Minnesota. Oh. Oh. Okay, I'll hold off my animal video. I'll save it for tomorrow. We'll use your animal video. Does it have sound? It does! Oh my god! You would have said the same thing about the video I had as well. Just saying, but like this is excellent. This is top-notch content. I probably just let this play on a loop all day and not even say anything. I get more viewers than I get any other time. A pocket goat. DJ Dub, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have cats to freak out. Cause I bet Smokey would be like, Socks wouldn't give a shit. Maynard didn't depend like if he was even in here. It's like the same 4 goats over and over again, but like it never gets old. Might be 5. Nope, it's 4. Am I tired of it? No. They are kind of whiny, I'll give you that. But it's adorable. See, I've already gained viewers since I've had this on. Welcome in, everyone. This is JustinFREAKIN. We just watched these same 4 goats over and over again on an endless loop for hours and hours and hours. Who needs to find out what that news be doing when you can be watching goats? Little baby goats to fit in your hand. With the cute little ears. Their snoots that need to be booped. Man. I'm gaining more people. Fuck. Tell your friends. We're the goat channel now. Baby goats. Are you goat versus fish? No, you're goats. On goats, on goats, and goats. I mean, it's mesmerizing. What do you think they're saying? You should watch the Patrol. Oh, I lost people. Okay, I lost people now. Apparently the goats weren't working. Wasn't a good marketing ploy. I'm sorry. Many people do come to find out what that news be doing. You can find that tomorrow night. If you're watching on Twitch, you're heading over to... Oh, shit! I was getting ready to say Echoplex Media because it's Intellectual Dollar Tree, but it's not. I gotta look, see who's on. I don't fucking know. This is it. This is the stream from now on. If you're watching on Twitch, we're going to go be friends with Mary Molly. Do I know Mary Molly? Maybe. Have I talked to Mary Molly? Possibly. Do I remember anything about Mary Molly? No, I don't. But I'm just going to go dump you in her stream, though. We're going to find out about her. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live. We're coming on like 6:45, 7. Bernie Sanders debate tomorrow night. New York Senate debate tomorrow night.